Hello everyone, I'm Captain Logan.
Hello, Internet.
And welcome back.
I'm Eric.
Welcome back to
That's my
Marvel
Patrick Stewart.
Mania. That's your Patrick Stewart?
Yeah,
Is that your Patrick Stewart after he just got up in the morning?
It's very specifically Patrick Stewart when he was pretending to be a robot, a Chinese Mars rover on Jon Stewart. That's how he opens that video. He goes, "Hello, Internet."
Oh, that's right. You told me about that.
I showed you that.
Did I watch that?
Yeah.
I don't think I watched that. I think you just told me about it.
No, we watched it, but the way it was put on...
How do I not remember whether I've watched that? It was recent.
I remember showing it to you.
Oh, wait, no, I remember, because they had, like, the moon thing.
Yeah, and he's in that big moon.
Real, yeah. That was bizarre. Anyway, how's it going, everybody? Today, we're going to watch and talk about X2. It is day 9 of Marvel Mania, and this is one of my favorite superhero movies of all time. I'm excited to get back to it and watch it again. And I told you the last time I saw it, it was somewhat of a lackluster experience. And it'll be interesting to see if I have this experience again watching with you. Probably not, because we'll be trying to, make a product for YouTube.
No, we're not.
While we're watching it, but well, to some degree. Well, you're real distracting then, is really what it is.
Yeah.
It's more like you'll get hung up on one little thing, and then for the next 15 minutes while important things are happening that we probably should be responding
What's going
to.
on in that fire in Spider-Man? That's all I want to know. What's going on in the Green Goblin's head?
And I didn't even get to help you with that.
Nope,
because I was off
all
getting
me.
cheeseburgers.
That was all me.
Yeah. So anyway, but I don't know. That third act was a little bit rough for me that last time, and it'll be interesting.
The last
to
5 minutes
are
real rough.
Yeah, but it was even worse that time. I think it was a lot of it. But anyway, so I don't know. We'll watch and talk about it. It's the, I think, only X-Men movie I've ever given a 4 to. Even Days of Future Past got a 3.5.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
There were enough hang-ups I had with some of glossing over time travel rules and things that I felt like, and I mean, like, some of that is, I don't mean to re-review that movie right now, but some of that
we'll get to it.
Like, is like just a conceit and stuff, and that was part of my problem with it, is that in explaining it in as much detail as they did, and then glossing over the way they do, it gives me pause and takes me out. So I don't know. If maybe we just hadn't really tried to explain it at all, it would have been a little bit easier to swallow. But anyway, so let's go ahead and jump right into it, shall we? It's X2. It is 2003. This is the year I graduated high school, and
I was 12.
Was one of the big movies for me that year. Eric, are you ready?
I'm ready.
We're just gonna get right into it. Here we go. If you want to watch it with us, get to timestamp 0. Get ready to press play when I say now. Timestamp 0 on your DVD or Blu-ray, however you want to watch it. And here we go. Everybody, please press play right now. That was a professional reach.
By the end of this, you'll have something to just hold it. You just like a stick or something.
So yeah, and I almost tried to find one before this particular commentary.
Do you have one of those like dinosaur head things that like you can click?
No, but I have like a claw grabber.
Oh, that
but I
might
don't know
work.
if it's long enough.
Oh yeah, I don't know.
Okay,
reach a little
the
bit.
X does linger even this far back.
Oh, in the Fox logo?
Yeah, I didn't realize that. That's kind of cool. It does linger. It doesn't do the da-da-da-da thing yet, but we don't even know that theme because this is the first time it's used. Man, Days of Future Past was such a big deal to me that at the end of the Fox logo we get that theme. It's so cool.
Well, not since the discovery of their existence, because we found out in ancient Egypt, and we seem to have pretty much the exact same history and go pretty all right up until the near future.
Well, arguably that wasn't discovering mutant kind. That was people thinking that Apocalypse was a god. So that's a little different, Oh,
see? It's like a star, but it's also like a brain!
Whoa!
These hold up way better than the ones in the first one.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, God. Oh, God. Here it comes! Here it comes! This is just the best theme ever!
It makes you wait for it.
No. It makes you wait for it more in Days of Future Past because for the few of us that cared and thought that was such a big deal, it was like, it's gonna come back. Oh, well, there had to be at least 2 or 3 other people. I mean, Days of Future Past, man. I had tears in the theater getting that theme back. This is a soundtrack I go back to.
Is it?
Oh yeah, I actually listen to the soundtrack a lot. I like John Ottman, and I think John Ottman is just a cool guy. It is so interesting and unusual to have a guy that both edits your movie and writes the soundtrack.
So, starting with Abe Lincoln, that's entirely coincidental, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're not
right.
saying anything with that?
No, don't read into any potential subtext there.
This is a great opening.
It is. It's wonderful. And I think one of the reasons I love this movie so much is because this caught my attention so hard.
It's such a great opening. And I don't know if we've ever done anything as cool with Nightcrawler or Azazel. Although I love Azazel picking people up and dropping them. That's pretty great.
That is pretty cool. But
whooshing.
Yeah, but he's not doing that to this music, you know, like
yeah. Do you think that's what the president does? He signs papers, picks up. Oh, this looks like a paper I have to sign.
I think it was maybe a little bit more deliberate than that. But yeah, part of why this scene is so cool, of course, is this music choice. Is that we went with this Requiem. Whoever thought of that is inspired.
Yeah, it's real great.
And Nightcrawler is real super menacing here, and this is better if you don't know X-Men.
Yeah.
If you have no idea who this is and what's going on, my favorite line in this bit is multiple assailants. That's so cool.
Yeah. Because
he can teleport so fast. Obviously, you would think there's like 20 of him.
It's also kind of immediately showing off...
his face is real creepy there.
We have way more budget.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
It's
almost rewarding the audience for making that successful so we could have this.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you guys want more of these?
Yeah.
Here you go.
And it's such a cool use of Nightcrawler. Like, I don't think Nightcrawler has ever been used like this in the comics pre this movie. Like, it's not usually used for combat.
And this is one of the better mind control situations because he doesn't have to go the whole movie before finally he gets to be himself.
This
is not the Hawkeye
only
thing.
time we get him mind controlled. The moment we meet him later,
right?
He's not.
He's already not. Yeah. And so anytime anybody else is mind control, it's not for a real long time. Because of course Magneto has it and Cyclops has it.
Well, and Lady Deathstrike.
Well, and Lady Deathstrike, of course, has it the whole movie, but she's not really introduced as a character, and we never really know anything about her, and that's unfortunate if you like her from the comics and you wanted to see something done with her.
Do people like Lady Deathstrike?
I don't think so. I don't know. I have no idea. I think
people like Lady Deathstrike about as much as she's in this movie. Like, they like her to show up and fight Wolverine.
Yeah, but she's exactly like Sabretooth, where it's like they're supposed to have a history, and we have a big token fight scene, but then... And they're both, like, monosyllabic, don't-say-anything characters.
And just like Sabretooth, we hint that they already have a history that Wolverine doesn't know.
Mm-hmm. This is real provocative in the theater, right?
Yeah.
Because you're like, why did Nightcrawler leave a knife that says Mutant Freedom Now?
If you're us, like that scene does work on double levels. If you don't know comics, you just think it's a bad guy.
Yeah, it really gets your attention.
Yeah.
It gets you sitting up in your seat going, what, and gets you really invested in a plot you know nothing about yet right away. I mean, like, that's a real smart way to open your movie, I think.
It's a good in media res.
Mm-hmm.
In medias res? In media res?
In medias res.
In medias res.
But because what's really cool is it starts to get more complex where you would assume, whether you know Nightcrawler or not, that he is part of a terrorist group. Of a mutant, especially with Magneto last movie, you're like, maybe Magneto's already out of prison and maybe he's running
people are taking up Magneto's ideals.
The League of Mutants, the evil...
Oh, the Brotherhood of Mutants.
Yeah.
Hey, look, it's a wolf. Oh, man, his hair is really comic booky. I didn't remember his hair being that comic booky.
Yeah, they went real over the top with this one.
Oh, that's great. See,
and so then it's so much more interesting when it turns out that it's actually a human creating a ruse.
He's
trying to throw the mutants under the bus.
Because he's like a wolf. We call him Wolverine, but he's not like a Wolverine. He's like a wolf.
Oh, well, it's also an animal that would be around.
Also,
there.
according to Jeff Loeb,
Maybe
he's like the reincarnation of like a wolf man, not like a werewolf man, like a wolf. Oh, it's real dumb. There's all these characters.
That's
a
thing?
They're all descendant of like these wolf people.
What?
And half of them aren't even wolves.
What are we talking about right now? He just reinvents
And
the
there's
mythology
always-
of Wolverine?
Yeah, and here's the legend.
Is it like the spider totem thing, but way worse?
Yes, that's exactly what it is. And he reinvents the legend so that there's always a dark-haired one, there's always a blonde-haired one, and they fight. It's real dumb.
So, I mean, yeah, we're comparing Wolverine to a wolf there instead of a Wolverine, but that's just because they're trying to use an animal that would be in that area, and I like that transition.
He has the worst power.
I would assume there's more to it than that, and we just never know what it is.
That's it.
How do you know?
He barely belongs in the Xavier Institute.
Well, can I complain about this? I thought mutant powers, and maybe we don't come out and... No, we do in these, I think. Mutant powers aren't supposed to really happen until puberty, and that kid's like 9, so... I don't really understand that.
He's
Maybe
early bloomer.
Okay, but that's my point, is that if he is an early bloomer, then he probably gets more mutated.
Well,
and right now he's just got the tongue, and later he'll also get whatever his powers are.
Even in the comics, it's puberty except when it's not. Like, it's usually puberty.
Yeah, because there's even...
Because Jean Grey has psychic powers at like 6 and 3.
6?
Yeah, when they go to Jean Grey's house and she's like a little girl.
She's
like
not.
6?
No, she's much older than that.
Okay, it's been a long time.
She's like 12 or 14 there. I don't know what you're talking about. But you also have the kid who blinks and makes the TV channels change.
Yeah,
and he looks like he's like 10.
Yeah. Also, second grade mutant power. So
yeah,
this is the thing.
Oh no, but being able to stay up all night and not have to go to sleep, that is a killer power. That's fantastic. And that guy, that little kid should be like creating like, you know, bombs or something.
He applied
like,
himself.
All I could think of was bombs. I don't know. He should be curing cancer is what I meant. Curing cancer.
So they say that this all starts with Jean going back to Liberty Island.
Yeah.
What about Liberty Island?
I always wondered about that. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it makes more sense if she was the one in the machine.
Yeah, well, maybe. I don't know why that would...
Because that would affect... But at least it's something.
It's not much of anything, though, right?
Unless it's Cerebro. Unless it's her using Cerebro.
We should have said that if that's what it was supposed to be. But, like, even that, I don't know why that would jumpstart her powers and bring the Phoenix more out. And then if you want to actually take the continuity of all of this seriously, when you look at X3, it has to be psychological. And I don't understand what about Liberty Island would bring that personality out, because it wasn't personal for her. It was just trying to stop Magneto. There's nothing besides the love triangle with Wolverine and Cyclops. What is personal about that for her?
Mm-hmm.
That's the big question I always had. Okay, so I'm going to say something that maybe I've said on the channel before, and I want to know if you agree with me on this. This looks like a cigarette commercial to me, or this looks like an anti-cigarette commercial to me. The way this whole bit is shot, it always looked like a period, like anti-smoking campaign that you would see on TV.
I never thought of it like that.
At the time, there were already some of those.
Yeah.
And the way they shoot that, and I doubt it's on purpose, but it looks like a PSA to me.
The way it starts definitely does. Where it's like, just give me a light, man. And it's from their POV looking.
If I'm ever an extra in a movie, I want to get to do this. I want to be one of the extras that has to stand still for a long time. And the reason is because, like, none of those people are real actors, and they all get to be on screen way longer than you usually do when you're an extra in a movie.
I thought you were going to say, because I've practiced, and I can stand still real good.
But I'm not going to, okay? Because, first of all, that pose was silly. And second of all, I want to talk about Patrick Stewart. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to talk about Pyro.
No, go right ahead. You're fine.
So this...
That guy's real talented. That's hard.
So this movie reinvents Pyro? Like, this has nothing to do with the comic book character Pyro? And he's so great in this movie.
And reinvents him from... Well, I was going to say from the couple of seconds we see of him in the first one, but that could be that character.
Yeah. Yeah, there's nothing there that... I mean, other than it's a different actor. Like, there's nothing there that...
Well, and he already looks like a little bit of a troublemaker there. He's the kid that draws the picture, if memory serves.
No,
Is he not?
he lights the fire behind his back, and then Bobby freezes it, and then it breaks.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
No, I think
And that's cool because that sets up their rivalry.
the picture's in this one. That's,
it is in
it's
this
Colossus.
one. Yes, that's right. Well, no, Colossus doesn't draw it. There's just some random kid that
drew it.
no.
Okay.
Colossus is real no nonsense in this. He's real. He's all responsibility and he's real stoic. The only thing anybody ever remembers about Colossus in this movie is that he walks down the hallway with a TV.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, that's not even in this,
No,
is
that's
it?
in 3.
That's in 3. I can't remember anything.
No, Colossus.
It's all over the
Colossus
place.
has one shot where he armors up, and then like, he hits a wall.
He hits a wall, and then he's like, "Let me help," and Wolverine's like, "No, help them." And, yeah. But we'll get there because we're watching that. And here comes my favorite X-Men villain in the movies, and the big problem, of course, with Stryker is that he's never cool again. We just keep using him.
He's
and
never
we keep
Southern
using
again
him.
either.
Yeah, he's a totally different character.
Yeah, every time. Every time he's a totally different character. He's a different character in X-Men Origins Wolverine. He's a different character in Days of Future Past.
Wolverine, they make him a real typical master manipulator who can see what everyone's gonna do and shouldn't be able to do that, and he's obnoxious. And anyway. When I first saw this, one thing I really wished they had done, just because I was a big fan of the cartoon show, is I wished the president was a woman.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because she was a lady in the cartoon show, and I always liked that idea because I like the idea that the X-Men are in a world that for humans is getting more progressive, but they like they put those energies to something else
Instead of because we're dealing with mutants now.
Yeah,
mutants are the thing we hate. And fear.
Isn't that kind of interesting?
Yeah.
I like the idea that they have other problems now. So like racism and sexism and stuff amongst ourselves starts to wane and go away a little bit because we have something
mutanism.
else to go after.
I like that she's always cracking her fingers. I don't know what that means because you would think it would mean that the metal is here, but it's not like bendy metal, right? It's not flex.
I do not understand that. Yeah. They try to make it a payoff because at the end, then she gets her big claws and her big scary fingernails, and that's supposed to be a payoff for her doing that. But they're solid. Mm-hmm. It's not like Wolverine can do this and he's like cracking his. I don't understand that.
Although I think there are lines on them which would suggest maybe they solidify when they come out, but they're like little bits in her hand.
If there are lines on them, then they actually thought that out.
Okay,
that's
I think
great.
there's lines
I never
on them.
noticed the lines.
We'll see.
We'll look for the lines. The lines will be drawn here and here and here, but no farther. Lincoln's head again. We're all about Lincoln.
We will always be about
obsessed
Lincoln.
with that.
It's in first class.
Okay, but it's better in this movie than I mean. It's an obvious symbol, obviously, but it's a good thing to put here in particular because it's not generic. We are dealing with a guy who is trying to enslave mutants.
Yeah.
And once again, I really like the guy playing Kelly, who's actually playing Mystique.
Mm-hmm.
He holds himself a little differently than when he was actually playing Kelly. You notice there's something else going on behind his eyes. Like he's real careful about that.
So, I really like the exchange that Stryker has just there, where he's being mean to him, because
this is never mind. Go ahead.
Because
I'm sorry.
Because he it tells you who he is. It was Colossus. He drew it. I told you.
Wait, Colossus draws it?
Colossus is the artist.
Okay.
Oh yeah, no, he's a sad Russian. He's an artist. That's a comic book thing.
I didn't know that. I never noticed that before.
But
okay, so he carries himself differently than he does with like around the teachers than he does around the kids.
Yeah,
some of the kids. Okay.
All
right.
But his line of dialogue to Kelly tells you exactly who he is. Where he's like, I plotted like Black Ops missions in Vietnam while you were with your mom at Woodstock.
Yeah.
Like he's like, oh, you're a hippie. You were raised by like that. It really gives you who he is.
What his worldview is. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, you did too.
Like, I don't mean to complain about every little thing Halle Berry does, but man, just the strut. Does she have the strut?
And
look at that. That's not
this scene.
I don't understand this character.
Works way better if you haven't seen the first movie. If you imagine that they have a history, this scene works way better.
They have more of a history than they actually do, because it's just so truncated, right?
Yeah.
Speaking of Kelly, did you see in the comments the person that explained why Magneto can't use that machine again?
It's because it almost kills him.
We should have thought of that. No, it's because it doesn't work right. It's because if you use it to turn somebody into a mutant, they die.
Right, which we forgot about
while we were
having that discussion.
While we were having that discussion, we forgot all about it.
Yeah.
I just wanted to bring that up here say, "Oops, we forgot all about that."
He could make it better.
He could work.
The Russians could help him.
Yeah, but one thing I really like about him not trying to do the exact same thing is that in this movie, now it's not a master plan. He doesn't decide to do it for well, he does what that machine would have done on purpose, and in a less convoluted way. So, like, now he's just got a machine that'll do it.
All right, so
that's a great book choice, of course.
Well, I was gonna mention the book.
Yeah.
What does that mean to him? Like it's a very specific book choice.
Yeah.
What does that mean to Magneto? I mean, it's about King Arthur. I don't follow. Other than the title.
Yeah. Honestly, I think it was just a title placement. I honestly don't know how much you can actually read into the book, and I've never read it, so...
Oh, have you not?
If I read it...
Oh, it's lovely.
But...
There's a lot of Harry Potter.
I have a hard time not just reading into the title. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Once again, and this is even more so kind of after Spider-Man, this is a real movie. Like, we were kind of talking about that with X-Men 1. We're like, we're letting scenes linger. We're like, this is...
It feels like
not a superhero movie.
It feels like things are unfolding naturally as opposed to are seeing the writing in it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, this is not a superhero movie, this is just a movie.
Mm-hmm. So, Eric and I have been talking about doing this. I want to go in and watch Brian Cox's entire library. Because I love him and I have not seen enough of him.
You'll end up in the Shane Black movie. He's in Long Kiss Goodnight.
Oh, cool.
I don't know if you like that movie, but he's in that.
Well, he can carry me through anything. This certainly is a big round room.
Yeah. The sign doesn't make sense. His hair's not long enough to braid. Movie ruined.
Well, and also, if you're Wolverine, that sounds like a good time.
It's true. Well, I mean, that's kind of creepy, but sure.
But I'm just saying, I wouldn't have said Jean, because Xavier has to know that Wolverine has a thing for Jean, right? That's not what I would have said. I always like that bit.
Yeah, me too.
Once again, coming up with really creative things to do with powers, and everyday uses for your powers.
Yeah. Well,
you wouldn't just use them for superhero things. You would... You know, we always like to preach in superhero things that you shouldn't use your powers for your own gain, but some things are not any different than, like, running to get to the grocery store faster. You know what I mean? Like, you have natural abilities that are not bad to use for yourself if they don't hurt other people, or there probably won't be any unfortunate consequences.
This is a different Cerebro effect, and this is the one we will use forever on.
Yes.
It's not that first one where it's like the Matrix-y, where like everyone's black and white. Like, we won't do that. This is what we use.
And the reason we do this is...
it looks great?
Well, yeah, but what led to it was a plot point. Because you have to have different colors for the mutants and the humans in order for the third act to work.
Well, that's...
So they changed the effect so that they can do the color spectrum.
Well, but they do that in the original one, I think, where it's everyone is black and white except for mutants who are in color. I think that's what's going on in Cerebro in that. But this is all...
Yeah, but for that third act in this movie, it can't just be black and white in color. It's got to be the humans are definitively blue. One color, and the mutants are one other color. That's why they did that. But it did lead to a way cooler looking effect.
Yeah. taking a while to wheel your chair around.
This is really the beginning, of course, of people complaining that Wolverine is the main character in all these movies. And it's not because of this movie, it's because of X3. I don't think people were really saying that here, but once you do a whole movie about Wolverine's origin that is an X-Men movie, and other people are there and it's sort of about them too, you gotta stop doing that. After that, and that's why I didn't need Origins, because we said everything I cared to know.
Well, it's retroactively a problem. Like,
exactly.
Like Wolverine is the Eisen character in the first movie.
Now, I'm not saying you
this
can't tell
movie's all
Weapon X
tied
story,
to Weapon X and his history, and then he's the leader. Like, it's when you put none of these things as well. I mean, X3 obviously, but like none of these things individually are problematic for Wolverine being the main character. It's in a row.
Yeah. If you had one movie in between each of those, it's not as big of a deal.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And again, it's what makes it feel so truncated. And like, these movies know that they're supposed to be serialized and they can't be, so they're not able to do enough to make the format feel natural.
And it wouldn't feel like such a problem if the majority of every other character didn't get shafted, like Cyclops. Cyclops gets nothing in 3 movies because we have to focus on Wolverine.
This is one of the bits in the score I like the most. And because I've gone back and listened to the score a lot on its own, I know this bit a lot. But Mystique just has a really cool, kind of mysterious and like slinky kind of theme, lurking.
So it's kind of weird, but we don't ever see Lady Deathstrike do anything like this on her own.
Yeah.
She doesn't actually seem... Like, she just seems to, like, lurk around and then, like, kill people. Like, her going into a lab seems strange to me because she's under mind control. Like, she doesn't seem to do things like that. I don't know. I'm not saying it's a problem, but I just thought of it right now where I'm like, oh, she doesn't do anything else like this in the movie. She's just a heavy.
I guess I'm not sure what you're complaining about right now because it's not her.
That it's not
There's
strange that she would go into... Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of stuff in these movies that are fun to pause.
Yeah. It's not strange that she would go into this room with all, like, the lab with all the computers. Like, that doesn't seem like a thing she would do.
I still don't understand what the complaint is. It's not her. Are you saying it's
But no one
conspicuous?
notices. Yeah.
All there is a trash guy.
Yeah. Maybe you're right.
Like,
I'm not complaining. I just think
if she's kind of staked this out and knows, that seems a little advanced for that time period, but whatever.
It's the near future.
Oh, that's right. That's true. It is the near future. Which, of
That's what your
course,
ceiling looks like.
makes the in-sync thing a thing we can complain about a little bit more. Because I said, it's funny, because we talked about that, and that was, a lot of the comments were correcting us on that, and that's in this movie. And, we'll get there in a little bit, but that whole thing, I suggested, maybe it was just on the radio, but somebody mentioned it, now that I'm thinking about it, yeah, it's right, it can't be on the radio. The way it plays, it's clearly like a disc or something in that player. And they make that player look a little bit futuristic.
Cyclops' car, I think.
Yeah, I don't know why that's playing.
That's what Cyclops likes.
And again, that stereo looked a little futuristic.
Well, yeah, because it's got the phone in it.
It was like an X. Yeah. So it's the thing they created.
This is still,
they make all their own stuff custom.
This is still everyone has a cell phone. Even as far back as 2003, everyone did not have a cell phone. It wasn't. See, she does come in here and do computer things. She just seems like a drone for the rest of the movie. She doesn't seem like she would do something like that.
Yeah. Because that's actually her. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's not a problem because we don't actually see her enough.
That means that she must have like 15 jobs, right? In working with Stryker? Because it looks like...
Well, it means that she should at least be a speaking character because she's not just like a mind-controlled zombie.
There's no reason she shouldn't have some dialogue. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, because she looks like she's just an assistant that maybe does a lot of clerical work, but clearly the real reason she's there is as a bodyguard. But she does more than be... Okay, you win. You're right about that. I forgot she actually appears at the end of that scene. So, I will say that
This is beautiful.
with the little bit, that too, with and it's weird because we're gonna have 2 movies back to back that have a church that looks kind of like this, but with Daredevil. But at least
next?
bats don't fly out of that. I think Daredevil is next. Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Looking forward to that. But anyway,
that one's gonna be rough because I haven't seen the theatrical version.
The little bit of fun they have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that will be rough. With the little bit of fun they have here with him, I almost wish, even though I don't like Halle Berry in this role, that we had more with Storm and Jean on screen, because they seem to be friends, and
it'd be nice if we saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're trying to get so much story stuff and individual character stuff done with these movies that we like, even though they do feel like they have time to breathe sometimes, individually we don't get enough about any of these characters and their relationships.
Yeah. So, all 3 of these actors are in James Bond movies. 2 of them are in the same James Bond movie.
Yeah. Who is Nightcrawler?
He's, did you ever see Goldeneye?
Yeah.
He's I'm Invincible!
Oh, wow. I haven't seen that in a really long time, but I didn't realize that's who that was.
Yeah, I don't know what his name is. He's always flicking the pen with his hand, which is a thing that I do sometimes.
Wow.
Yep.
But yeah, immediately...
And this is the best thing I've ever seen him do. He's obviously also in
Sun Mask.
He's not a great actor except for, like, when he is. And this is one of those times. I think he's amazing in this movie.
You wouldn't think that guy could fake a German accent this well, and he sounds great.
Yep.
And unfortunately, the new Nightcrawler we have does not seem like this character to me.
Cummings?
It's something Cummings.
It's not Jim.
Is it Tim? Is it? I forget. We can look it up. I don't know my phone.
You can probably just look on the back of the box.
Maybe. That gets more complicated because the names are tiny. And metallic on metallic. The text in the... Yeah, that's impossible.
It's like metal and coconut.
Yeah. Anyway. But yeah, but don't you think, like, the new Nightcrawler, even though we only had him for like 6.5 seconds, he doesn't feel like this character.
No, and I really don't buy that he has those markings at that age.
Cause did they give him the markings?
Oh yeah, he's got the markings.
I never noticed that.
Yeah.
Really?
I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Here, it's a specific character choice that he put those on himself.
Yeah.
I think. Put on him when he was. I always assumed that he did them.
No, I always did too. Well, he says one for every sin.
But it's possible that, like, it was done to him because he looks like a demon.
Well, that's the way he talks about it. He's not like,
because he's in a church.
He doesn't seem upset about it. It seems like just he's chosen to do that. It always sounded like that. But
you could also read it as he's accepted it because he doesn't hate humans and things like that.
And maybe he's never known anything different. Oh, that's interesting. I never thought of that.
Neither did I.
That maybe. Well, and then there's an interesting correlation if that's what it was. We don't know enough to say.
Yeah.
But if that's what it was, that and then Stryker, like these different groups of people that do things to mutants for different reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Where one wants to control you and one wants to vilify you, and that's really interesting.
And that
I almost want it to be that more, and want him to just be like kind of a damaged, docile animal. You know, who...
But it doesn't break his faith, and he still trusts people.
Uh-huh. And then, like, comparing him to Wolverine gets really interesting at that point, because Weapon X, and it's the same guy that did it to both of them. You see why I love this movie? And that stuff is inherently there, regardless of what the tattoos are.
Mm. I think they're not tattoos.
Well,
are they burns, or are they scars?
They're etched in. Yeah.
Because
I say tattoos as a shorthand. It's easier.
I think they're kind of raised like scars. I've never been sure if they're burned into them or if they're scarred into them.
They look like they're scarred in.
Yeah. Which is real painful. I really like the scene.
I do too.
It's a nice little, like, just character moment-y scene.
Well,
and so often I want to be able to just and make a drink cold.
And it kind of immediately deflates that as an obnoxious love triangle, because Wolverine does not have any interest in Rogue.
Mm-hmm.
And he's realizing that they can get along, and they have a very specific kind of relationship, because like it's kind of the Bobby Professor Logan relationship, you know. I like that later on,
Well, and there's
that he comes up with that.
It's real. It's really interesting
because they can't just be. They're not the same age, so he's going to be more of a father figure. But he's not exactly. It's sort of like I can relate to that a lot. It's sort of like what I have with my stepfather, where he's not old enough to be my dad, but he was a mentor figure, and that's kind of what he's got with Wolverine.
He's because the whole idea of the school is kind of the movies. Like in the comics, it's Xavier's School for Gifted Youngsters, but it's never really a school until this movie comes out. And then Grant Morrison does the school thing. We keep that, but so like
what you're saying in the comics before they hadn't really done much of the classroom thing.
Yeah,
really?
It's just the 6 current X-Men hanging out and stuff like that.
I was not really aware of that.
Oh, yeah.
Or it never occurred to me. I mean, because I haven't read a whole lot of Claremont, but... So is it sort of like the school is more of a facade, or...
Yeah, I think so, yeah. I mean, they're learning there.
It is going on, but we don't really get to go there and deal with it.
Well, and a big part of it is that...
It's Alan.
All the X-Men grew up. It's Alan Comics?
Yeah.
Okay.
No ass, just comic.
Oh, okay. But what I like kind of about before this scene is... It's really comic book Wolverine in a setting that he's not usually in, which is a school where he's like, "You have any beer?"
Yeah.
Like, that feels like a comic book Wolverine line.
But you're right, it's even neater that they actually get into a little bit into the ins and outs of, like, how would you end up here? How would your parents send you? What would your parents think it was exactly? You know, that it's a prep school.
There is an X-Men comic thing that really bugs me in all of these movies. We always see basketball. Like in the first movie, we see those kids playing basketball.
Right.
The jet comes out from under the basketball court.
Uh-huh.
I think they play basketball in Apocalypse. X-Men are always playing baseball. That's what they're known for.
Really?
Oh yeah, no, that's a big thing. Like Claremont, every once in a while, would just throw out a baseball issue where they're all playing baseball. That's a big X-Men thing. Is they're playing baseball.
I don't mind changing it for the movies because, and also, that's obscure enough. People aren't going to know that. Like, that's, I don't know. Is it?
I know it.
Really? So it's supposed to be that just because that's what it is in the comic? Like, baseball is not as popular of a thing anymore. Like, if you had a school, more kids are going to play basketball than baseball.
Well, and we do a basketball issue.
This started right after the 90s.
Well, and we do a basketball issue.
Basketball is
in
more popular than it's ever been.
Right after Claremont leaves, like X-Men, 4 or 5, we do a basketball issue, but because it's the 90s. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, it's so good. Because that's his worldview, man. Like,
and something I yell at Cap all the time.
You should have killed me when you had the chance. Yeah, and I agree with that.
After every video we rap, I'm like, you should have killed me when you had the chance.
It's real dramatic here at Geekvolution headquarters.
And Cyclops is out of this movie.
Yep.
And Professor X is kind of out of this movie.
Yep. We've already done it.
You were already cool. Why do you need to keep cracking your fingers? We get it. You're cool. Is that Wolverine? Are we watching Wolverine on TV? That would be funny.
I like that all of the TV things and whatever is going on in the background is somehow or rather reflecting a scene, but not in
I never caught that until I looked at the subtitles.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's cool.
That's real cool.
It's cool. Like the babies are alone and they're vulnerable.
And someone's coming to dinner.
Somebody's... Yeah, it's great.
No, that's really cool. So, this guy, we're going to see him throughout. I always forget he's in here. He is a major character in the Highlander TV show.
Oh, that's funny.
And the character is so popular that fans wanted him to get his own show. He's like, if there is a breakout star of the Highlander TV show, yeah, he's Mythos. He is the oldest living immortal, and he's one of the Horsemen of Apocalypse.
An immortal named Mythos, of course.
Mythos.
That's great. I just assumed you were pronouncing it wrong.
No. His name is Mythos. It's with an E. It's Methos. It's Mythos. But he's henchman number 3 in this movie. I feel real bad for him.
Well, he's at least like the leader of the Black Ops
and
crew.
he gets lines.
Yeah. That's why they hired him over anyone else. He has a resume.
He's quite good in Highlander.
So, who is she?
She's Banshee.
Oh, okay. She's Banshee?
No, sorry. She's Siren. Banshee's
Siren. Okay.
She's the girl that Deadpool loves in Joe Kelly's run.
Yeah.
That's her.
Cool. I liked her in that.
Mm-hmm.
In that run a lot.
And I love her in X Factor. She's on and off with Jamie Madrox.
Well, that's kind of cool. That's at least a thing that if you didn't kill him off in Days of Future Past could have happened.
Yep.
I guess maybe, he could have gotten married in the interim and had a kid. Yeah, that's great. I mean, I guess it's still possible.
Yeah, we get a bunch of fun cameos. Kitty Pryde showed up again, obviously,
Yep.
or will show up again.
And is a lot younger than she looks in the next movie.
It's weird. I didn't realize this. Pyro doesn't show up again since the opening scene. I think of him as a main character in this movie. He has not been there since the opening scene.
But, I mean, he is a major character in this movie.
But he hasn't been there since the opening scene. Like, I didn't realize we don't touch back with him
For a while.
Yep. This is a big trailer moment. And I wouldn't have put that in the trailer. It's a real cool moment in the theater. It's
the problem, and especially these days, you can't get away with that because with all the speculation that goes on the internet and like a million videos pointing out all the stuff you might have missed and stuff, those things are going to make everybody expect Colossus to be a major character in this movie.
Yeah. Well, and
he's not, and then you're going to be disappointed.
Well,
and the problem isn't really the movie and the fact that he's not a major player, because I don't know that there's enough room for him to be in this. Like, like he serves a purpose. It's fine. We can put a pin in that and do something with him later if we want to. We don't, but we could. But the problem becomes how you advertise it. Anyway, he's here.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying, is that we don't get him again until this point. We saw him grab his lighter.
But we're still pretty early in the movie.
Yeah. No, I'm not complaining. I didn't realize that we don't see him from that scene until this scene.
I'm just saying I don't think it feels like that long of a time. Like,
I don't know. It feels like a while to me. Yeah, well, we talked about this in the first one, how the internet's kind of changed things, where this is all great and cool because we are not being updated every 9 seconds of who's cast and who they're playing.
Yep.
If X2 comes out today, we know all of these actors and we're told the characters they're playing.
Yeah.
And then you go to the theater and you're like, you had Siren for 6 seconds, you had Kitty Pryde fall through a floor.
Yeah, and you're like, because you saw an entire cast list. That doesn't mean that those are important characters or that they have to be.
Yeah. No, I like that the X-Men movies do this, where they're like, look, there are 9 million mutants. You will never get to see all of them. It's fun to throw a couple of them together.
Rogue's scream always makes me laugh. I mean, I didn't actually laugh, but that is, I don't know, that is such a silly scream. And like, it's on screen for a second and a half. But if you watch this as many times as I have, you start noticing it.
It's real. Someone standing in front of her and going, "Scream now!" Ah!
I disagree. I think it actually might be the opposite. I think it might be it happened when she wasn't expecting it, and that's just what that actress looks like when she freaks out. And it's hilarious. Like, I don't think it's bad acting. I think it would have been better had she been acting. I don't think she's acting there. That's why it's funny.
Wolverine kills a lot of people.
Yeah. That's a thing we probably wouldn't do now.
Yeah.
As much.
You're probably right.
In this setting. I mean, obviously we're doing a rated R Wolverine movie, and it's probably going to be more violent than he's ever been, and he kills people a lot in the Wolverine, but I think... I think one of the reasons that the Wolverine Stryker thing resonates with me so much is because, as I've said a lot, I'm kind of a sucker for the father figure, especially the father figure that's not your actual father, and
he's a lot beefier here than in the first movie.
He's so big, and the ones that like steer you the wrong way and are manipulating you, and that you think you can trust, like. This is one of my favorite superhero movies, and Batman Begins is one of my favorite superhero movies. There's
the Dark Mentor.
There's a connection there with him and Roz.
Yeah.
Versus the father figures that he really should be looking to.
There's a real Nick Cage there a little bit, and how he's smiling.
You go to Nick Cage a lot.
He's one of our finest actors. You saw Adaptation. You know he's a great thespian.
He's great in that, sure.
He ran along the wall.
I like that it's ice.
Yeah.
Because what is separating him from learning about his origins at the beginning of the movie is in a cold place.
Mm-hmm. I've always wondered, like, it just springs up, and usually when he shoots, there's like an effect, and we don't see that effect. It's because he runs along the wall.
Yeah,
that's really cool. I'm not sure if his powers work, and the wall is fine now. And that looks so cool, and you know that they had a wall of ice and they blew it up.
Oh yeah,
like clearly,
it's practical.
It's great.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably really hard to keep it cold in that building, but it looks cool.
Yeah, and that's probably actual ice they're walking around.
Yeah,
they're walking over there. That's cool. And if it's not, they fooled me. I mean, it looks really great. So I'm with you from what you said last movie. I don't know why like Wolverine stealing Cyclops' stuff is an ongoing joke. Is like all that funny.
It would be funnier if
they had any
screen time to dislike each other.
Well, and I want to be with one of them or the other.
And it keeps being an accident. Like, he takes a motorcycle at Cyclops' motorcycle. He takes a car at Cyclops' car. Like, he's not doing it on purpose.
Oh, he had to have known that was Cyclops' car.
Also, okay. So I have a real dumb thing that really bothers me about this scene that's always bothered me.
I love that. I love that he can remember his name, but he can't remember anything else. And
so he pops a claw to turn the ignition, right?
Yeah.
Is he driving like this? You have to keep the key in the car for it to run. Is he driving like this?
That's a good point. Unless he can somehow or rather pull it out and keep the ignition in the right place. But honestly, it doesn't make sense in the first place. It should just break it.
So is that a Cyclops joke? Is that Cyclops listens to NSYNC?
Oh wait, no, it's not a futuristic stereo. It's just this thing that pops out. The stereo is just a normal stereo. And they thought that was the CD player. So they thought it was a CD. And they pressed a button to pull the CD out and they got that thing. So that is just there as a plot device so they can get the phone.
Yeah, it just has to be music that somebody doesn't like.
So they just picked something.
Yeah, it could have been anything. It could have been like Barry Manilow.
It could have been anything. They should have picked something 50 years old.
Yeah.
And it should have been just clearly the radio, so it doesn't have to be something you identify with.
Well, it might have been the radio because he hits 3, so he might have been trying to change the station.
I always assumed it was the radio.
Yeah, it probably is the radio.
And now that I've seen it again, I still think I was right about that.
No, I think you're right.
I was deferring on that. I think I was right about it.
Mythos got lines. He got to say things to Stryker. He's getting to work with Brian Cox. It's a big day. It's a big day for Mythos.
Probably the last one he'll get too. He probably never got really anything else to do.
Yeah, I don't think he's in anything else.
I don't know though.
Oh, you mean in this movie?
No, I mean
ever. Yeah, after this, I don't think he's in the last one after this. This is probably the most anyone's ever talked about Mythos in X-Men 2. But every time I watch this movie, I'm like, oh yeah, Mythos is in this. I love Mythos. Actually, you know what? He has another Highlander movie to do after this.
Oh, okay.
The worst movie I've ever seen in my entire life. I'm just trying to... The Source. Highlander the Source. Wouldn't you put it on? Just to try it?
No, because that would be what a crazy person would do. And one of the things I really like about Stryker is that he's not insane.
Yeah.
Is that he's perfectly lucid. He knows just what he's doing.
Plot hole!
Yeah. Everyone gets it. Well, and also, he's talking to Shaw. That's the other thing.
Well, I guess it's not a plot hole.
Did you know that?
I didn't catch that.
That's supposed to be Shaw he's talking to?
Shaw's a talk show host?
Apparently.
See, that's fun little stuff that we can't do anymore because the internet's ruined everything.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's true.
But,
You never... Even the cameos you always know.
Yeah. But that, that's not actually necessarily a plot hole until First Class.
Yeah.
Because we don't know when he turns blue. It could be between 2 and 3. It seems likely that it wasn't, but it could have been.
Well, and it's not necessarily a plot hole after that either, because he seems to be able to use his medicine and go back and forth. Because in Apocalypse, well, yeah, but I'm just saying, at that point, they fixed it. Like, he actually he's put on some weight, but they fixed it. He also, of course, by the time you get to the next movie, it's like 20 or 30 years older than he is right there.
It's true.
Maybe not quite that much older, but...
He's a little older.
What I love about this is that we haven't come up with a reason to have her look like the actress out of makeup until just now.
Yeah.
So when
it
you
just helps
first
that she's a really attractive person.
Yeah. So when you first see this, you don't necessarily know. I didn't that it's actually the actress that plays Mystique. And even with all of this, I don't know that I picked up on it, that it wasn't an actress turning into that other actress. Like it's so weird. Like, you have to put yourself back in the moment, because First Class and beyond, we have that character with Jennifer Lawrence out of it all the time, and so you know what that looks like.
Because she can't be bothered to show up for work, I know.
But what I'm saying is, it's that was kind of just a fun little thing.
Yeah.
At that point, where it's like, that actress gets to not have to be in makeup for a little bit.
And she's good there. She's good in this movie, and she's really good in Punisher. I don't know why she didn't have a bigger career.
Me neither.
I think she's a legitimately good actress. Probably, maybe the best, like, model turned actress.
Yeah. Yeah, because obviously she got this role for her looks and not much else. Mm-hmm. I would say.
And then it turns out,
but she probably had to do a screen test. I mean,
yeah. I mean, they didn't pick, like, Pamela Anderson, like...
But she has, like, very few lines, but there's a lot of acting she has to do with her face, and she's quite good.
Yeah. I like this little helmet thing.
Mm-hmm.
And this whole speech is haunting.
It is. It's brilliant. It's probably the best writing in these movies up to this point. Well, maybe in general. It's some of the best writing. I mean, there's some speeches in Days of Future Past that get me excited.
And there's some stuff in First Class I really like. But
maybe I'm just saying for villain stuff, you know.
I think this is a weird choice to put this here when he's explaining, because when she starts looking around, it seems like she starts remembering, like, what he's saying. Yeah. I wouldn't have cut it like that, or I wouldn't have done it there. I mean, I know what's happening, but
why wouldn't you have done it there?
Because while he's talking, he's telling a story. She's remembering, like she's coming back into herself,
right?
And it seems like she's remembering what he's saying, not her life, which is what's supposed to be happening. It just, I don't know, it seems like a weird cut.
Okay. I don't know why you necessarily have to read it that way. I wouldn't have thought of that.
I don't know. That's what's. I know that's not what's. I know that's not what's happening, but I feel like it looks that way. And that's where we find out that she's mind controlled, which is interesting.
No, it's not. We knew that already.
Did we? We already knew the thing on her neck?
We knew the thing on Magneto's neck.
The first time we found out she's mind controlled, and she's not, like, working for him.
Oh, I always assumed it.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, because she's a mutant. There's no way a mutant is working for that guy.
Well, I mean, you don't know that yet, watching the movie.
Well, no, not necessarily, but I feel like a lot of people would probably assume that she has this, because, like, that's his thing. That's what he does.
Yeah.
Well, and also, she seems catatonic. I mean, she seems like she's not all there.
Yeah.
Now, that would have been a cool reveal. I'm just saying, I don't know that her turning over is a reveal. Really, if you're paying attention. Like that's what I would have expected to happen, and that's what happens. If it turned out that she was, like, a mutant sympathizer, that's a reveal. That's a big deal.
So, that's Jason Winterguard. He's Mastermind. He's not like his comic book character.
I always forget that that's a comic book character.
Yeah, he's part of the Hellfire Club.
Because they just reinvent him entirely.
Yeah. He is a completely different character.
Now, it's not like you couldn't have done something with him somehow where he turns into something like Mastermind. But
yeah.
He's got a telescope in his bedroom. He's got a little bit too much in common with Clark Kent for my taste.
Well, remember
there is some hot girl that lives in the...
So he gives her these clothes, and she says groovy. They're not 60s clothes. They're like 50s clothes.
Well, that's okay, because kids are stupid.
It's true.
And
it's true.
They can be ignorant and not know anything.
There were no bathrooms in this house.
That's not why they did that, but...
We have to do it like this?
Yes. Yeah, you have to contrive that moment. Of course, that has to happen.
So,
and what is the point of that? It's like, yeah, okay, you're dating, and he's a 6-year-old kid and wants to see his girlfriend naked. That's sure, of course.
Yeah. And he's never able to touch her, like.
Well, maybe that's why they felt like they had to have that there, or like that makes it worse or something. I don't know.
I just feel like.
Are they like appealing to the teenage audience with that? Is that why that's there?
No, I don't think so at all. I think it's a contrived moment of drama.
Well, that's what I mean.
To
though.
get to that, but
what I mean is it the teenage kids that are going to resonate with that more? Is that why that's got to be there?
Maybe.
I don't know. I hadn't thought about the bathroom thing, though. I'm with you, like.
Yeah.
And that looks like a room that easily could have had a bathroom off to the side.
Yeah, and like they're not sleeping.
This is a really cool shot.
Yeah, they're not sleeping together. They're not like before you're in that stage of a relationship. You still change in other rooms. Like you will hit a level where you're comfortable with each other. They are not there yet.
Well, no, and that's why he turns away.
Yeah, and
they know that.
Just go to the bathroom like a normal person.
That's a good point. Changing the car is something. I like the cat joke.
Yeah, I do too.
I've always liked that. And that's one of those things where, yeah, being in the trailer kind of wrote it a little bit, but that was one of those things in the trailer that I think interested people.
I love that Wolverine doesn't even begin to like have an answer. He's just Bobby.
Because one of the things I like about this movie is it's a little bit more like it's more fun than the first movie, even though it's
heavier and darker.
It's much heavier, and so it integrates the levity really well. And that in that first movie, like there's some of that here and there, but for the most part, it's not bleak, but it's kind of, I don't know. I don't want to say sterile either, but it's working so hard to introduce everybody that besides the Wolverine and Rogue stuff, it has a hard time landing on a real consistent tone.
Mm-hmm. Is this too far? Pulling iron out of blood?
No, I don't think so.
I don't either, but I wanted to ask.
It might be hard to buy that he has that much iron in his blood and he can function like a normal person. I don't know what that would do to you.
Yeah.
Because iron is a super, super tiny percentage of what's in the human body. Like, it's 0.00 something. It's like, it's real, there's not a lot. And so if there's that much iron in your blood, that is significantly more than what you would usually
That's a comic book cover. I mean, it isn't a comic book cover, but it looks like a comic book. Like,
yeah.
Just with the metal balls and the laughing face, like that.
It's
that
cool.
looks like a comic book cover.
Once again, just creative usage of power.
Yeah.
I also like that he uses metal balls like projectiles, like guns, but he hates guns.
Mm-hmm. And this is...
And I've always thought that he kind of plays that like an ironic thing.
I love that that's not pure.
Yeah.
It's got like
imperfections.
Imperfections, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So once again, Magneto.
But yeah, I was just gonna say real quick, but just he plays like poetic justice.
Yeah.
Like he likes to shoot people with metal because he hates guns because of what happened to him.
Well, once again, like in the first film, he has a sense of like flair to him, where he keeps them revolving around him before he shoots them, like just because it looks cool. Like he's
so
clearly
theatrical.
just yeah,
and he's,
theatrical.
And he's having a fun time with it. And it makes a lot of sense that Magneto would enjoy it because he thinks he's entitled.
Mm-hmm.
We are better than humans. We are gods. We should get to act like gods. And they are wonderfully consistent about that throughout.
I like that exchange.
The
This mutant
thing.
problem?
Oh,
no,
yeah.
what mutant problem?
What mutant problem, yeah.
No. The art thing is great. That's hilarious.
Yeah, and I mean, one thing we could talk more about in these movies is that you could argue that their side of that is somewhat too extreme, and that they're not, and that there's not enough of an appreciation that there really is a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that doesn't excuse racism, but the fact that you could end up with a mutant that had power that they couldn't control that would, like, eliminate a whole city block or something, like, without their even... And, of course, you know, their answer is, we'll teach them how to use their powers, but the problem is, you could end up with people, like we'll see in the third movie, except it's because of a, you know, crazy alternate personality, with the Phoenix, you can end up with something you just simply can't control. Well, that's not... A human saying that isn't racism, it's simply the truth. It's simply a problem. How do you deal with that? So, yeah, there is a mutant problem. All mutants aren't problems. But the fact that...
Well, it doesn't help that a lot of mutants were created by comic book creators to fight things.
Yeah.
Like, what is the recreational
What
is the recreational use of Cyclops' powers?
Knocking
trees
laser
over?
eye surgery.
No, because it's force.
Because it's not actually a laser. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a laser, nor is it heat based.
No, I know. I'm sorry, Shades. I know. I realize I realize the difference between an optic blast and heat vision. I'm sorry. I get it. There was a test on that. I failed it. Now that I know,
they fail it too.
Here's that exchange with what the angelic symbols are.
But they do not talk about how he gets them.
And he talks about it almost like affectionately, you know, like. You're right, he doesn't. This would be dark, but it would tell us if just at some point we saw him do it to himself.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure I want that scene, but that would at least tell us that.
He has them all there. Also, after the
yeah, but he would still like try to find space. I mean, he has more sins. Like,
it's not every sin he commits. It's every sin. It's angelic symbols for every sin, passed down to mankind from the angel Gabriel.
You're reading that differently than I ever read it. I don't think you're right about it. When he with a hint of humor says quite a few,
because there's that many sins.
I don't think you're right about that.
That's how
now that you say that, I think both reads are maybe plausible. No, I don't think you're right about it.
Okay, that's why I've always taken that is. It's a sign for every sin, every different sin. So quite a few, because there's a lot of sins.
Yeah,
that's how I've always taken it. And if I'm right, he's going to have to update that now that the internet exists, because we've created so many new sins.
Yeah.
But that's how I always
I never thought of that. I think both of those reads are possible. Like, I don't have a good argument for why I'm right and you're not.
Is this the most discussion that's ever been given about that just costume choice?
Probably so. Hey, at least there's an explanation for it. We don't get anything about what the frickin' Romulan symbols are or tattoos are in 2009.
They're cool.
And then the comics did one, and it was kind of cool, and they should have been in the movie, but it wasn't. Anyway.
So we're still in the 90s because we're doing a cop scene. We still think cops have anything to do in superhero movies. This is a great scene.
Yeah, I don't really know what you're talking about when you say that. Like, we do cops in a lot of superhero movies, even today.
But not like this. I don't know. There's something about this that feels...
Well, it's a little bit more believable. I mean, you would have cops show up. Like, I don't know how that's inherently 90s.
It just seems like a thing we don't do in superhero movies, like, after a while.
I think we tend to find ways to get them off the table. Well, like, take the cops off the board.
Like, how many cops are there in like, the Marvel movies? Like, there's some show up in Avengers. And, no, those are soldiers. Those aren't even police officers.
Yeah, but I think much of the time, at least up while you still have S.H.I.E.L.D., it's probably, like, you know, S.H.I.E.L.D. calling them off because you have, like, an official... It's just... superheroes, up to a point, are kind of cops in that world.
Yeah.
You know, except for when they're not. I mean, you're right. We will often avoid, you know, having the cops show up. But I feel like we did that to some degree before too. I don't know. It's a case by case thing.
So I never
that's
thought
more
about...
of a comic book issue than it is a superhero issue. I mean, we did them in the Superman movies and stuff too. So like you're right. Like going back, we often would have them.
I never thought about this. We went real comic book. He shoots 2 people in the face with fire, and they just go back. There's a cop on each side of him. He just knocks them back off of the. That's how we treat fire in comic books, and that's not how fire works. Those people are like flayed.
Well, he can control the fire, so arguably he can make it like less hot, and then make it like work more like a
denser
wind or something. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if the flame was spread out far enough, but then it probably wouldn't still look like a fireball.
I'm not saying it's a problem. It's really comic book.
I would have to look at the actor. That sounds like a MythBusters experiment. Like
no, it doesn't. That sounds like someone's gonna die.
Well, you'd use mannequins or something, but it sounds like a MythBusters experiment.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Too bad they're canceled.
You know,
or over.
Are there fire plumes that if they
could just push you back?
If the molecules are spread out far enough that you could just, you know.
Because the Human Torch says all. Like, the Human Torch can't exist without just horrendously hurting people.
Yeah, and you also can't fight that close to lava in a lot of things where we're fighting close to lava.
Yeah, it's true. That's true.
Both Star Wars and Star Trek do it, and it cracks me up. Because one of these things wants to be use actual science, and you just can't get that close to lava. Star Trek 3 does it. There's a Voyager episode where we're just, like, climbing over lava, and I'm like, no. You would be dead. Yeah, your read on those things might be right, and I never thought of that, and that drives me crazy. Because they're like, they're symmetrical.
Mm-hmm. Like, it's an intentional design.
Yeah.
I mean, it was intentionally designed by someone, so maybe that's why it looks like that.
That's the only reason it looks like that? Yeah. But, Xavier's like, something must be wrong, because I can stand with my feet.
Do you think it's kind of like when you're nodding off? Do you think that's what he's experiencing right now? Where he's like in another world. He's like, stop it!
Yeah. Maybe so. He's trying to keep his grasp on reality.
Now, did he adjust the illusion? Like, okay, this.
Yes, I think so.
This is going to be reaching. Does he not know? Like, theoretically, did he go to Xavier's school before Xavier couldn't walk, and he didn't know that Xavier couldn't walk? He thinks he's just tied to a chair right now. And so he projects an illusion where he's standing, and Professor Xavier's like, well, this isn't right, and so he adjusts the illusion. Is that
That's
what's
interesting.
going on
I never
there?
thought of that. That's possible.
Also, we keep bringing back Stryker, and we have never given his son to... We've never given Jason to Professor X to train. You think we'd do him in Apocalypse?
I know, that drives me nuts. I don't even want to get into that. I hate that. But... another way you could read that, I never thought about that way, because I never noticed, oh, he's in the wheelchair now. For some reason, that never connected with me. It could be that it's like the Matrix thing, where he's trying to give him everything he wanted, where he's like...
Oh.
He's trying to create an illusion that he wouldn't want to come out of, but he's got too much willpower, and he's going to fight against that. Yeah. So he makes it more like normal, and like maybe somehow or rather that makes it harder for him to tell the difference between the realities. I don't know.
Right. The closer you get to real life, the easier it is for you to accept.
Perhaps. I like your read a lot, except that would be a weird chair to be tied to, and it doesn't look like you're tied. You're just sitting in a chair. So, I don't know. But I don't know how lucid he is. Like, I don't know how much he's able to really understand his surroundings.
He's also monosyllabic. Like,
I remember there being some questionable CG in the scene.
There's a lot of villains in these first two X movies that just don't talk.
Yeah. Well, and there's a lot of henchmen in every X-Men movie that don't talk.
Yeah.
Every one of them.
Yeah, First Class says that too.
It is a staple. Days of Future Past has it. I mean, it is a staple. We do it with all of them. And X3 has a bunch of them.
Yeah.
But some of that is just because there's
X3
so many
has like 9
of them.
million of them.
Yeah. They wouldn't have a chance to say anything. But because they don't say anything, and we've seen these movies where we have these henchmen that are on screen for so long and they don't say anything, it looks like they just don't talk as opposed to they're not given a chance to say anything. Like, there's a way of acting.
Seems unlikely, yeah? She's flying the plane and concentrating on doing all this?
That's
like,
pretty impressive.
There's no, like, hey, Jean, take over, or anything like that. Also, way overkill. Way overkill.
No, that's true. You're saying that, like, it's too much for Jean to be able to do?
No, this is Storm.
You're right.
No. I mean,
okay.
I mean,
don't know
way overkill for defensive measures against the American military.
Also, like, you're not doing very much.
There's like
to
30
support your
tornadoes.
cause right now.
Yeah.
Because these people have to know what's a mutant doing this, because there's no other explanation. This is not a thing that happens in nature. This many funnel clouds coming down from the sky.
And I know that we see them eject from the plane. Not all these people make it out. There's no way.
0 casualties.
Yeah, no. Storm is killing people here. Or at least she's not thinking about people dying.
But now she's made it clear skies right away.
Yeah.
So that would help.
But not if you're playing a continent and, like, spun up.
If she saw all of them eject out, I think you're nitpicking pretty hard. But...
Okay. Do tornadoes again.
What?
I don't...
Do something. Lightning bolt, something.
So
maybe
scene
she can't make it happen fast enough.
That might be. Oh, she did it real fast before.
Yeah, but... You'd have to do it maybe faster than she did.
This scene is to set up what we're going to do with Jean at the end of this movie.
Right.
It's also why what happens to Jean at the end of this movie is so dumb.
Yeah.
Because we see her do it without getting out of the plane.
Yep. I mean, yeah, she can't... She doesn't manage to handle both of them, but I don't know what getting out of the plane does for her.
Line of sight.
She's not looking at what she's doing. She's like this. She has 2 things to... She's not exactly... Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's line of sight. I don't know.
You're still not tied in anything. You just get sucked right back out.
So we got real lucky that we found Nightcrawler before all this happened, right? Like, his power is coming in handy.
Yeah.
I'm not complaining. You want to do things with his powers.
Yeah.
And there are other
would have
things...
just created a fire plume and pulled her back in.
Right, and pulled him in, right. Because he can... Remember, he can create... He can manipulate the fire, he just can't create it. So he can do it.
He can do it. He can make the fire cold if you wanted to.
It'd be cold fire. Uh-huh. Cold fusion, because that's how that works. Right.
Because as we learned from In the Darkness, cold fusion is literally cold.
Right. Mm-hmm. That was the joke I was making. If anybody happened to get... When did you get your cool costume bag?
A Mystique brought it to him.
Oh, that was sure nice of her to do. She could have gotten herself some clothes. She could have gone shopping and found something for her to wear. Or she could just make up something to wear while she...
I like these jackets.
Yeah.
I kind of wish these were the new uniforms.
Those are cool because they don't look like uniforms. They look like... Well, I mean, okay, they look like uniforms. Like, they look like Air Force things.
Yeah. Or
just
even
flight
like school jackets.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, like, I don't want to say Air Force. I just mean like they look like the flight jackets you might want to wear on an airplane.
And that jacket looks good on Storm.
It looks
like,
cool.
This is what their costume should be. This is how they should look in this movie. We don't need the black leather.
They don't. Yeah. They don't need to make up some kind of superhero costumes. The fact that they have symbols on them is enough because it looks. Yeah. I mean, these want to be slightly more grounded. That fits better for the movie they're making.
Yeah. This is what we should be looking like in this movie.
Yeah, and what's really cool is that you have one of those few situations where you can wear X's all over your clothes and not look stupid because you go to a school
and that's
called Xavier.
Yeah. Do you think there's TV ads for Xavier's? Like real bad, like college ads, like send your kid. It's got like the kids walking through the school.
And they just avoid everything superpower possible. That'd be great if they shot all the places that turn into other things. We're like, we have basketball goals,
and it's like, come to Xavier's, and then it's like all of them there. It's like, we'd be glad to meet you. Like just a real bad college ad.
Book a weekend. It'd be awesome.
Is it written in it?
Okay, but the way you manipulate adamantium is the way you manipulate every other metal. It's not the same kind of thing. Like, you got it kind of easy there.
I also like that,
I guess knowing what it does helps, but...
Wolverine feels so dumb in this moment. Like, it's kind of in his eyes, and the Mystique, like, looks right at him like, you're so dumb.
About anything in particular, or just the way he's carrying himself?
The lake. That there's a base under it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He's like an alcohol lake, and he's like, there's nothing there. Goes,
like,
it's under it. And he's like, oh.
I didn't think of that.
I just saw this big dam. I just assumed that was it. That was a bad shot.
On the other hand, I always thought it was kind of cool that we're at the location of the climax at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
We don't realize there's this massive base under it, and then we go there, and what they've built is, like, really complicated and labyrinthian, and I like that what Nightcrawler is flashing back to is exactly what Wolverine saw was before, and then I don't understand when we get to Origins that they can't just make that.
Yeah. Oh,
You have
here
two
he finds out the
movies
base is underground.
where you're you have two movies where you're making a really big deal out of what exactly that looked like, and you got a continuity and stuff.
Well, I mean,
So when we do stop to deal with this relationship, we don't get anywhere, and it feels like we're just wasting time. Well, we just never do anything with
No.
these characters, is all
No.
I'm saying. Like, it's just, I want you, but you're with Scott. Yep, I'm with Scott, so I can't be with you. And then Mystique teasing. Which I kind of didn't need.
yeah.
I'm not a fan of this scene.
No. No, and the Mystique scene's weird. Especially because...
And he's like, yeah, I don't love him, like, kind of trying to force himself on her. Like,
in this
is
scene?
that supposed to be what...
I don't think that's him trying to force himself. Like, I think
Yeah,
this is...
yeah,
oh,
he
this
is. That's
here.
what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You just don't remember what happens in this scene.
No, I didn't remember what happens in the scene.
Yeah, and she's saying please, and he's still trying to kiss her, and I don't love that. And she says, "Don't make me do this." Like,
Yeah.
they have not
You wouldn't make this
convinced
scene,
me
though.
that he is. Well, and it's not.
And the movie, if we're going to get to that point, the movie needs to be building and they need to be kissing each other. We need to build to that point where, like, we just see them...
Well, it just depends on what story you're telling. If the idea is he's trying to be like the bad boy and thinks that he can get her to leave Scott by forcing himself on her, by like being the the tough guy and being like really super assertive and all of that, they have to make me buy that he's more of a tough guy than he is, because that's more of an air he wears than anything. I just don't buy that character would do that.
Yeah.
It's nothing about the politics of the movie or anything. I don't think that character would do that.
Yeah. So...
I'm not saying they're implying that he would rape her or anything
No.
That's not what I'm saying.
No. But
it's real contrived, because it's like that, because they do that just so that he might buy more that she would come in and kiss him like that. My point is they're throwing him under the bus, and I don't think they need to do that.
This scene's weird because, I don't know about you, I've always read that Mystique and Magneto are a couple in this movie.
Yeah. Oh, yes, definitely.
So what is this doing here?
What does that have to do with them being a couple?
Or, yeah, Magneto Mystique are...
Yeah, but what is that? What's... Right.
Why would she be going to Wolverine?
She's not actually trying to sleep with him. She's just teasing him. That never would have happened.
I thought she was.
No.
That's how I've always read this scene.
No. She's getting him back. No, because then she does.
Well,
she
now
does the
she's
striker
screwing
thing.
with him, but...
Well, she was screwing with him in the first place. She's trying to get him back for hurting her at the end of last movie.
Okay.
And we're trying to come up with ways to put these characters and scenes together. That's all that is.
Okay. If he hasn't noticed the scar,
Right.
how far does that joke go?
Yeah,
At what point does she... I don't know.
Well, yeah, and that shuts it down faster. my assumption is she would just turn into Stryker at some point during that makeout session.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah. Yeah, she's just screwing with him. And I think she's doing that from the very beginning.
Okay.
I don't think it's, oh, you've spurned me, so now I'm going to give you... No.
Okay, that's how I always read that scene.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think you're wrong about that scene. Oh, is that what this is? I told you, he says it like that.
Exactly like that.
That's how he says it.
You do it.
You thought I was exaggerating. That is a thing I say all the time. There's an episode of Spawn Year.
Sarah, Jason,
all of
it's
us.
the whole Williamson family.
It's because of Spawn Year. There's an episode of Spawn Year where Sarah, as Dumas Vince, has to say that line, or has to say something that made me think of that, and then when we were making that, there's this blooper reel of us just constantly going, is that what they say? Because I said, do you know what they say? And then she's like, is that what they say?
So this is immediately the best explanation there's ever been for superhero names.
Yeah.
The real name thing, you're a mutant, you're not a human, you don't use the name that the humans gave you. You pick your own name.
Yeah,
it's so good.
It's about your identity,
yeah.
and it's about embracing what you are, and making that part of yourself.
Also, your god among insects is not a compliment. It's not impressive, it's not fun. It's such a... It really feels like a backhanded compliment, where he's like, I can only control the fire. He's like, I don't think it's intentional.
No.
It's just such a nothing thing where it's like, well, you're a god among insects. Was like, well, I don't live among insects, so that's great.
I don't agree with you.
Really?
Oh yeah, because he's no, that's not condescension. Intentional or otherwise. He's saying human beings are insects to us, and just because you can't create the fire doesn't mean that you're not infinitely more powerful than any human being there is.
So you're taking...
it's just like...
You're taking the insects as meaning humans.
Well, yeah.
I took it as literal insects.
Well, no. That's obviously a metaphor. You're a god among insects.
I've always taken it as actual insects.
Okay.
We have a very different read on this movie.
Yeah. Yours is incorrect.
Not with the Nightcrawler thing, I don't think.
Again, I can see that going both ways. I would be interested to see how many people, and leave comments, please, how many folks watching this have thought one or the other. That one I think you got me on, but I would never, ever, ever have thought of it. But I tend to... I have a weakness with character stuff. I tend to accidentally read too much into things and think that the thing I'm seeing must be the thing it is. And like, there are things there that you can't make too explicit. You know what I mean? So that's not me reading into something or seeing something that isn't there. That's me just making an assumption that that actually the thing you're saying makes more sense. But
I love that Magneto constantly puts down Wolverine.
Yeah.
It's real fun. We yell that a lot, too.
It was right. Well, no. The thing we yell is at the end of the movie. We'll do that when we get there. I think most of us know.
Well, there's that one, too.
Yeah.
But we do have a tendency to just yell Stryker. Which comes up more often than you would think. There's a lot of characters named Stryker.
Yeah.
Almost always with a Y as well. Somehow that makes it a name and not a word.
Yeah, what was it we had a review recently that also had a character named Stryker in it?
Luke Cage.
Luke Cage!
Yeah.
That's what it was.
And he keeps yelling Stryker.
Yeah, he yells Stryker all the time, and I'm like, there are no answers that way, Luke Cage! I spoiled it. That's okay. I can't help it. I wanted to say
there's
it.
Mythos. He's always in
really
front.
Wanted to say it. Yeah.
No one cares. I guarantee you.
No, they don't.
At least someone in the comments who will be like, I knew it was Mythos, or oh man, I didn't realize that was Mythos. You must have viewers that watch Highlander.
We must have one viewer that watched.
This is a cool.
That looked amazing.
Well, and it's a cool. I like that we make fun of Wolverine and then we send Wolverine in, and you're like, wait, you just said what was he gonna do? Scratch with his claws. and then it's. I like that. It's like it's a reveal that shouldn't be a reveal. If you're paying attention.
Now, I don't totally get that. I always thought it was kind of weird that is Mystique, and she walks in and explains to the person she's about to knock out what is going on. Why does she do that?
I don't know.
I mean, that's just for the audience's benefit, right? That's just so that we'll have a moment where we think that's really him, and that's going a little too far. You don't need to do that. We already think maybe that's actually him. Mm-hmm. Some people aren't even thinking it's Mystique. She comes in. There's a metamorph loose. Could be anybody, and then it's me. Why would you say that? I mean, ultimately, nothing happens because of it. So she's got the situation controlled, but that's so unnecessary.
I like how like it's barely a sound on the other side of the door. Like it's just this huge explosion. She's like, "What was that?"
That's awesome. The reason I love, the effect looks great, but the reason I love the Wolverine jump in the Mystique moment so much is because they make you think earlier that they're maybe cutting corners real hard, not doing the effect very much. Did you notice that?
They're hiding.
She keeps walking behind walls and turning into somebody else, and it's cool, and she's real elegant, but I could see a person watching that going, "Oh, we got to actually see it happen some in the first movie. Why are you cutting corners and not paying for the effect?" Because we're taking the money
for that to do the Nightcrawler stuff.
And when we
get off our back,
and when they finally do it, it just looks amazing. Really cool, yeah. And I mean, it's not like it's a big reveal. We've seen them do it before, but the effect is a little different than the last movie. I mean, like they've perfected it.
So we started this scene a while ago. It took them a long time in their minds to walk down to Cerebro.
That is a really great point you're making. Yep. We're struggling to make this match up chronologically, so that this is happening at the same time. Yeah, we have to believe that what they've been doing, they would be doing for the last 20. Honestly, they should have just sat down to tea or something. Like
he keeps finding imperfections or perfections, and he keeps like having to restart the thing. No, my.
Yeah, or
my middle finger is actually shorter than my index finger.
or as
he's really self-conscious. He just keeps noticing things that he hates about himself missing.
He's like, "Where's my birthmark?"
Usually my stomach sticks out slightly past my belt line.
Wait a minute. I had this molar replaced with a fake tooth forever ago.
I'm completely bald, but on my real head, there's a couple of spots where you can see that hair might be growing.
Now, one thing I don't appreciate is I don't think there's any point while he's in this dreamscape where he where he screams like the Xavier from the cartoon show. Ah! That never gets old now. I love the screaming Xavier. We watched a video with a whole bunch of screaming Xaviers, and that was the thing that always made me laugh. Like I noticed that he did that a lot. Like, put them all together.
And what do you got? There's a song
big
somewhere that was in my brain. I don't.
Screaming Xaviers.
Huh? It's weird. You're like an elite military installation, and you've got this crappy rusted room. I'm a college, and I've got a real nice big round room.
Yeah, I'm a little bit fuzzy on all of this. Like, okay, so we got... Is the idea that we got the specifications and we built this?
Yeah.
In this... Like, why does it look so rusted out and stuff? Like, just because it's in that
I imagine because this is a Black Ops group, they don't actually have a lot of money. And they only put the panels that they need to act... How I've always taken this, I don't know if I had a conversation with you, I've had a conversation with someone about this. How I've always taken this is that the placement of the panels...
Yeah.
Are where they need to be to kill mutants, and when Magneto moves them, we just move them to where we need to be to kill humans. So okay, that wasn't you. So we only built as much as we needed to build to kill all the mutants. Like, I think that's why there's all these like missing pieces, and like they're only going to use it once.
Yeah,
it doesn't have to look great.
They do that because it looks cool too.
Although
that's the main reason is so that Magneto can have a big moment.
I have a question about Cerebro. that I just thought of.
I'm just gonna keep doing it.
Because this one's all dirty and rusted.
I'm not gonna stop.
Do you think?
Okay.
Like the bad kids Xavier's. They're the ones that have to go down to the bottom of the giant Cerebro room and clean it? Like somebody's cleaning that room.
Nah, it cleans itself.
It
It's the not too distant future.
It could be Astonishing X-Men. Oh, that's a danger room. Never mind. I was confusing the danger room and Cerebro.
Well, that's a big room that would suck to clean too.
Well, we find out that...
Well, not as much as this, because there's got a big bowl at the bottom. Like,
yeah, no. Like, how do you get down to clean the bottom of that? Like, oh, man. You do not want to be the kid getting detention in Xavier's school.
Well,
and getting sent down
you
to the
know
bottom
who's
of the
cleaning
Cerebro.
that room, right? It's the kid that broke
With the cleaning
in.
power?
It's the skateboard kid that broke in, so that he could skateboard around it. That's who's cleaning that room. You couldn't resist that if you were a skateboard kid.
Yeah.
Or if you like doing motorcycle stunts. It'd be the end of the Simpsons movie. You'd just be like going around it on your motorcycle.
Look, this is supposed to be dramatic, but it's not because I was barely in this movie. I know you're supposed to love me, but we haven't given any explanation for that either. Why would you have a Hummer underground? Like, that's just exhaust fumes in your little underground facility. Everyone's gonna die.
Well, I assume they've probably got like a ramp or something.
Oh, maybe.
Like underneath that goes up to the
Here's Jubilee.
first floor or something.
That was fun, and then we all found out everybody that was cast in every movie ever. And now we're expecting that girl to be a main character.
Yeah, and also we've ruined some of those cameos now because we've put them in other periods of time.
Yeah.
So we have Jubilee.
We'll talk about
kid,
Angel.
Years ago.
Who's
yeah.
not even a cameo.
I don't understand Angel. Someone, when that movie came out, in desperation, I love this, trying to make the argument that perhaps it was Warren Worthington's dad, and then finally just gave up and was like, no, that doesn't work either. I don't know who I was talking to.
That's kind of a cool shot.
We all tried to make that work. It's the same thing as Star Trek 09 at this point, where it's a soft reboot, even though it's in continuity. They've decided that means you can do anything at all,
it can be
and
done.
It doesn't matter that rebooting out of original continuity means that certain things would have stayed the same, like people's ages and stuff, if it's the exact same characters. And if you're gonna do that, then just reboot it, I guess. Like, just start over. Like,
maybe we shouldn't have built our secret base under a dam.
Maybe, yeah, that wasn't the best.
Given
idea.
that dams break from time to time, I wouldn't have put my secret lab underneath a dam.
But, you know, we've had it here since 1965 or something, and we've never had a problem.
Same thing with Magneto in the first Transformers movie. He's hidden in a dam.
With who?
Magneto? Megatron.
Oh, Megatron.
Megatron in the first Transformers movie. He's hidden in a dam that I believe has broken and is rebuilt while he was supposed to have been kept there. And Cyclops is back. Man, he's really not in this movie.
So I theoretically have always liked Marsden in this role.
Yeah, me too.
But he does this grimace thing with his face in this that kind of is unintentionally funny to me. And I feel kind of mean even bringing it up. But he's like, I love you! Gene! I love you! And then you get to the end of the movie, and he keeps doing it. He's like, no! You don't say that! No! She's got no! Yeah, no! And if he hadn't done it earlier in the movie, when like he's grieved and he's like got his teeth clenched and he can't, I can kind of like I see what he's doing with the performance, but he keeps doing it, and it becomes a thing, and once it's a thing, it's kind of funny, and I just kind of want to keep doing it. Eric, I really like this movie, but it has problems.
So this is possibly, if you were going to complain about this being Wolverine's movie, we have to have a character for Wolverine to fight by himself.
Yes.
That's a possible complaint, and she's not a character, and she only exists so that this fight can happen.
Yeah, we just threw
Although
it in
I love
there.
that.
Yeah, that's awesome. The scratches on the wall.
Yeah. Why didn't they just make it look like this room? Just remake this room.
I don't know.
Is it even in Alki Lake?
Yeah, I think it is.
Is it? Okay.
I do. Yeah, because it's... And it's a similar locale.
Although that tub is pretty close.
Yeah, but like the way he breaks out and say it just looks totally different.
No, it does. I think he's got those lines on him. Well, he's obviously like 3 times the size, because every X-Men movie he doubles in size.
Yeah, it's directly proportionate to how much he can take with his healing factor. Like as the movies progress.
Well, that doesn't make sense.
That's an argument I've had with people too. I've had people tell me, well, maybe he just gets stronger movie to movie. Okay, why? Because he's had healing factor for a good long time before the movie
And that doesn't
start.
explain Days of Future Past.
What is it that... Yeah, that's true. Once you get
Where he's
there...
a monster, he could play the whole...
Well, but I'm just talking about his ability to
Even
to
Lou
heal
Ferrigno
more.
run for his money in Days of Future Past.
Now, do you mind that he notices the scratches? Because it almost would have been cooler if they were just there and we drew no attention to it.
No, because that's part of him remembering
Yeah.
that this is where it happened.
And I also like that we get memory right here. There are so many stupid comic book things where people will just arbitrarily start remembering things based on like unrelated word. Well, sometimes you would have that, right? Where like somebody would mention a word that's unrelated, but that out of context, that word has to do with something that happened.
Yeah.
So no, that can happen. But you have a lot of things where somebody will just randomly remember something and their memories just start to come back for no good reason. I like that there's like, cues.
Yeah,
where
he's actually in the place that he's remembering.
Yeah, and that
he's dealing with the person that's...
And it's not just the sights. Like, I would assume the smell of that place has to have a lot to do with it. And that's not a thing we talk about, but...
Well, let's look at this rivets. I can't really tell.
Yep.
Yeah,
yep,
there are.
Yep.
There are rivets.
Yep. The lines are drawn here.
Yeah. So yeah, they must like compact in their hand so they can crack. Now, to be fair, this is a really brutal fight.
Yeah.
It probably immediately beats that Blade 2 fight. That was the best comic book fight we'd have.
Yeah, it's... Well, and I like the gruesome way this fight ends.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's
in the
haunting.
theater, that was a thing. And yeah, I've seen a lot of like really rough fights since then. That holds up for me.
No, yeah, it's
still rough. And the problem with it though is that I want it to be really sad. She's not a character. Mm-hmm. She's kind of a nothing plot device.
We need the backstory where they used to be lovers, and she hates him and chose to be this.
Yeah, but you don't have room for that in this movie.
No, you don't. But
I don't know.
It should be there.
And that would be a subplot that might feel too disconnected from the rest of what we're doing thematically.
Not if she works with Stryker on the Wolverine project.
You think?
If she chooses to be what she is.
Yeah, but...
And they had a relationship. Like, that makes it more about Wolverine, but if you're going to use her, and you want that scene to resonate, like, that helps. I love that.
Yeah, but... It would maybe overcomplicate things, and this movie would have to be longer. Because
no, that makes the movie more Wolverine's movie.
It's just, we don't have any other mutants doing this of their own accord. Like, the movie's not about that right now.
Yeah.
I mean, it would suddenly become about, it would be more layered. It would be cool to have that aspect, but I almost feel like you need another movie for it. Like, because right now, this is about a human that
controls mutants, yeah.
That controls mutants and thinks that they have to be controlled because you can't trust them, and it's not always their fault, but it doesn't matter. And I've always said he's the other side of Magneto.
Mm.
It's us or them.
Yeah.
And it's that simple, and it's that black and white. It's just right now you have this really interesting triad.
That's also a comic book cover. Coming out of the water like that,
yeah.
like that's...
Ugh.
People crawling for things is funny in movies. I don't know why. It's almost always funny to me.
We do it a lot. That's a real smart move on his part.
It is.
And I feel like that's what that character would do.
See, We're hinting that there's a relationship here that we're going to explain at some point, and he's going to feel real bad about this later.
I think you're reading too far into that. I don't know what about that is hinting at that.
He gives her this look.
Yeah, like, doesn't that suck? You're dead now, and I just put a bunch of adamantium
That's how I'm getting off that look. It's, do I know you? Because she gives him a look, and then, I don't know. That's why I get off that scene.
I don't agree with that. I think,
I'm probably
I think if there's a look from her, it's...
Oh no, I'm dying?
It's now it's that one lucid moment of I have myself back.
Oh, yeah, that could be. What is going on? Oh no, I'm dying?
Yeah. Well, and also...
This is great.
Of course, the point of it being adamantium is obvious, but like if that's her one moment of lucidity, isn't that really sad? Where it's like she was the same project he was.
Mm-hmm.
She got turned into this. She is essentially the Weapon X project that like done right, and he fled and they lost him, but they got to keep one, and then she dies the same way she was created. That's real sad. I just wish I knew something about her.
I can't believe this illusion. Last week I trimmed my fingernails and I trimmed one of them too close and it hurt ever since. Alright, I'll put it in the hurting fingernail.
I've had this itch here for weeks, but I don't have this itch right now. So this must be an illusion.
One of my eyes is slightly wider than the other eye, and it's not that way.
We just have this 5-minute scene where he stares at himself in a mirror. He's just like... And then at the end of that scene, he gets up out of his wheelchair and he goes, "Wait a minute!
Anything wrong?
Could have figured this out the whole time." I've always been kind of impressed by how long we spend in this facility and it doesn't feel like it drags.
Mm-hmm.
The entire third act is spent here.
Yeah.
The end of the second act is we arrive here and we don't leave. And so it feels like a really, really lengthy superhero movie climax.
Mm-hmm.
Or it would if all we were doing was fighting.
Mm-hmm.
But because that's not all it is. And I mean, there is a lot of action here, but it doesn't feel like your typical third act, especially because the stakes are literally all in everyone's heads.
And this
we do have a big fight that we just had with Wolverine and Lady Deathstrike, but the movie's not nearly over yet. Like, that's kind of cool that, like, your big knockdown drag out fight, that's not the climax of your movie. The climax of your movie is, oh god, all the humans are gonna die. I don't understand why it takes that long though.
For them to all...
Nobody dies. Like you have the ringing in the ears for a really, 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 really long time, and everybody's just like, "Oh no, my head!"
Well, he keeps telling them to concentrate harder, and before with the mutants, because the mutants did the same thing.
Yeah,
it's apparently that's how it works. It's at
just
least consistent.
Yeah. Well, the problem with it is that in the first movie, he talks about how easy it would be. I think it's the first movie. I forget, or maybe it's this one. But there's a place where he talks about how easy it would be to just think and somebody's dead.
Mm. Yeah, but if you do it to everyone at the same time...
Well, that's true. Yeah. Maybe that works.
But, I like, with Magneto, making Magneto the villain here is... It's not the same thing as, like, Rise of the Silver Surfer. Where it's like, oh, Dr. Doom's the bad guy again. It's a... Because this is about fanaticism.
Yeah.
And we're still seeing, like, this is not a man to be trusted. Like, they're friends, but he's a wicked man.
Yeah, and he's just as bad as Stryker.
Yeah.
And he has a choice, and he doesn't have to be.
And I wouldn't be surprised if there was a first draft of this, or an earlier draft of this, where he's not the bad guy at the end.
Mm-hmm.
But then it feels like Magneto's a good guy.
It doesn't ultimately feel formulaic. It's not like, oh, he's Magneto, so he has to be the bad guy at the end of this. It's the natural course of that that character would take.
Although, if Days of Future Past happened before this, that's all on them, man. We have learned many times that Magneto will never take it to the end.
Well, what's cool is Magneto, once again, even though you can't condone it, he has an argument here, because if this guy exists, and he can get as close as he did to killing all the mutants, it's us or them. And I like that this isn't, again, a big mass manipulation plot on Magneto's plan, or on Magneto's part. He didn't come here to do this. He found this. And it's, again, it's us or them. He's going to do this to us, so we better do it to him first. And obviously he's enjoying it, and he doesn't take much to push him there.
So, I really like all this stuff here.
Yeah.
Man, we've really lost some with Wolverine where we know who he is.
Yeah, I think so too.
In the comics and in the movies, like, the man who does not know who he is, and he may have been a bad person, that's really interesting. And once you have the answer to that, like, what do you keep doing with that character? And we still don't know. Well, we killed him and replaced him with a different version.
And I love that we're using... See, one of the things I love about Stryker is that he's... In doing a story here about Weapon X as opposed to going back and doing Weapon X, which of course we do later, Stryker isn't just a plot device to turn Wolverine into Wolverine. He's a guy with a worldview, and
it all fits together within
his
the
creating
universe.
Wolverine, and this conversation about all of that informs his character. When he says people don't change, that's his whole outlook. And that's Magneto, too.
Yeah. I think he has a line like that in First Class, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, and of course, Professor X's thing is everyone has a choice, which is what teaching people how to use their powers is all about. You don't have to let them control you, just like you don't have to let emotion control you. That's also a big part of all of this.
Right.
There are no answers that way, Wolverine! Except the subtitle said exits!
It said there are no exits that
way! Over here, you'll see a sign! You'll see an exit sign!
But there are no exits that way!
You can leave this way, but there are no exits that way! Oh, I'm gonna be quoting that line differently. Oh, that's great, man. The next time I'm at dinner with someone and they get up to go to the bathroom, there are no exits that way, Wolverine! Next time somebody's at my house and they can't remember where the front door is, they don't know how to get out, there are no exits that way, Wolverine! Oh boy, that's great.
Oh, is this what I was doing to people? Oh, this is terrible!
Oh, man. I feel real bad about it now. Wait, no, they're not people. People don't change. Never mind.
Yeah.
That sounds like one of those, like...
We just need one more scream. Hey, is anyone around here, can they do a scream?
Yeah, it sounds like one of those, like, haunted house Halloween
He's taking
CDs.
it pretty well.
You know, you buy it to play, like, you know, haunted house.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, you just press play and it goes, ah! Ah! It's like, you're not really committing, you know?
That was a door, that wasn't a person.
It doesn't even sound like a person.
There's a lot of creaky doors on those.
I hope that person changes, because...
Completely normal person, you just sneak up on them and you spook them and they're like...
Well, you ask the person to have a little bit of feeling in their face. Like, I know I can't see them, but it helps your scream sound more authentic. Ah! Ah! Finish it! Finish it! That's because Nightcrawler was also saying the Lord's Prayer.
Yes.
See, there's this connective tissue between all the Marvel movies. Have you noticed that? We found something that reminded us of Daredevil moving forward, and we found something that reminds us of, well, that is just in Spider-Man before this. Finish it! Those horrible yellow eyes!
See, if she was smart, she would put an illusion in their brain that the walkway of Cerebro went like this way, and they just walk off and fall down.
That's a good idea. That's what they should have done. Or just put a big scary monster in there so they run away. One of the two.
Just put a big door with an exit sign. But there are no exits that way.
There are no exits that way. And then they walk off, and it's like just the goofy sound. Wahoo! This is degenerated.
We had things to say.
Mm-hmm. We were talking about this, like, I don't know, intelligently a little bit, maybe, and then...
And then there are no exits.
There are no exits.
Wolverine.
Wolverine.
So this is a thing that we don't do.
That can't be the line, because that doesn't make sense. Anyway, I'm sorry, what?
What is
it with Mystique and helicopters?
Well, I was going to say, this is a thing that we don't do in the pre-trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
We never see her learn to fly a helicopter, but it's a thing she does in all the movies. In all these movies. Like, you would think that would be a thing if you were going to do a pre-origin and you were going to have Mystique and, like, that would be a thing that you would do where you're like, and this is how she learned how to fly a helicopter.
It turns out she's just Trinity and she just downloaded it.
Yeah.
Ah! I'm really enjoying all the yelling. Because it just sounds goofy.
Okay.
That's not a thing I ever noticed
what is
before
happening
this viewing.
So, before, when he was killing all of the people...
Yeah.
Or all the mutants?
Yeah.
Not the humans, but the mutants.
Uh-huh.
Wouldn't that affect Jason? Wouldn't the illusion have been broken? Wouldn't Jason have been like, ah?
What do you mean?
Because everybody gets a headache, right?
Right.
Jason's a mutant.
Well, he probably...
Or is he safe because he's in Cerebro?
Somehow or rather gets Professor X to... I mean, you could say the same thing about Professor X. He'd be doing it to himself.
I don't think he shows up on Cerebro. He's the one projecting.
Yeah. Yeah, but I'm just saying...
I give it that pass.
If you're literally using... just talking about the command, kill all the mutants...
Well, he's sensing them all.
Yeah,
he's
but
thinking
right. But like, I wouldn't have thought of that with Jason, because it's like, you know, you're here with me, and I'm not gonna kill you because you're here with me. Like, I don't know.
I really want Jason to be like, because he hasn't said anything this whole movie. I'm like, oh no, and like a thing lands on him.
I would love to know, again, how like lucid and aware he is. It doesn't even occur to him that how weird it is for Stryker to reverse it and say kill all the humans.
Yeah. Well, does he have the serum?
Yes.
So Stryker showing up, he just does what he's told.
He just does whatever he's told. You're right.
It's a real convenient serum. It's real specific.
Yeah, you're right. Of course he's not working. Because again, this movie is not about mutants who come to agree with the humans' cause.
Which is maybe what the third film should have been.
Yeah. Because that's like the Nazi sympathizer thing, right?
Yeah.
So if you can't beat them, join them. You find some way to live in that world where you give them something they want so that you can be an exception to the master race idea.
In X-Men, it's called the Master Mold idea.
Right, yes, of course. You will replace Senator Kelly's brain and replace it with a computer!
You will replace Senator Kelly's brain and replace it with a computer. It's not an incorrect sentence.
That's what I said.
Yeah, I know.
No.
But it's not an incorrect sentence. It's not a good sentence. You'll replace Senator Kelly's brain
Mm-hmm. It's a sentence.
by replacing it with a computer.
No, it was removed. It was removed. You will remove.
You said replace twice.
No, I did it wrong.
like...
Yeah. No. You will remove Senator Kelly's brain. Yeah.
Replace it with a computer.
So why are we diagramming my frickin' sentence now? Why are we doing that?
What if
This is hilarious.
What if it was just something else? Because Scott's got this real like, oh, like what if it was like Fin Fang Foom or something? Like, oh no! How long were we in there?
I've always liked it. The plane just comes up over that hill, and they're like, Who is flying that plane? She's got one job. But at least we kind of gave
it's
her
not that
something
one.
to do, and it's... I don't know.
Yeah, we're trying to do the ensemble thing, and we're not doing it great, but we're doing it.
Well, and I always say, you know, I don't want to sound hypocritical. I always say that if you have to have a ginormous ensemble cast, it's always best to give your characters some moments and allow them to shine in places and feel like real people as much as you can, but focus on a couple of relationships.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I always tell, like, first-time writers, don't start with a cast of 10 people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, write a story about a couple of people.
Mm-hmm.
And I just bring that up to say that, like, a big group and giving everybody stuff to do is hard, and, like, you know, dual antagonist is hard enough. Once you get into, like, I have 6 antagonists, like, you have to know who the movie's about, you know? And just because you have a large cast doesn't mean that it has to be about everything. It doesn't mean that everybody has to have a character arc. And unless you're writing, like, a big, long, serialized story, you probably shouldn't do that.
There are exits for me this way.
there are exits this way.
And someday, your heirs!
I love that Days of Future Past pays that off, and in the past. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Someone will finish what I've started, and they'll do it earlier.
And later.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, but because of what happens earlier... Anyway, it's...
There are reasons X3
We'll
gets
there,
messed
but it's
up,
great.
but man, it's real hard to drop this ball, right?
Drop
like,
what ball?
Following up this movie? Like, I feel like doing a sequel to this should be easy. It's so good.
Oh, I don't agree with you.
You don't think so?
No, I think that's hard. I think they wrote themselves into a corner.
Well, the Phoenix thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
I'm not sure what you're talking about. Like,
I momentarily forgot that we set up the Phoenix for a second, and I was like...
Well, I mean, the Phoenix is the
if the Phoenix
way
is not
they're
at the
leading into this next movie. I thought you were saying the Phoenix should be easy. I
No.
don't know. In this world,
No,
really?
in this world, the Phoenix is a really weird
You're
way to
gonna
go.
jump to space? I mean, it's the same thing we tried to do in Spider-Man 3. And I'm not saying that couldn't have worked, but
Phoenix
it didn't
is
work.
inherently a problem because, I mean, rewatching these, we could go to space, maybe? It's not impossible.
No, certainly
but
not.
you wouldn't expect it. But doing Phoenix as just a mutant power immediately takes away everything about the Phoenix. Like, it is a massive, like...
It's a force. It's a force of nature.
Yeah, it's imposing.
Mm-hmm.
No mutant power can be, because everyone has mutant powers. It's just another mutant power. It's not scary like...
No, well, it could be if we made it about evolution. That's the thing.
If she was the mutant of mutants?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If it's, there's another level to go?
Yeah.
That's an idea we like to do in Ninja Turtles a lot. where we have the mutates, and then there's like another step to that. And, you know, the question is always, like, is it actual evolution, or is it, like, scary, monstrous de-evolution? Like, does it turn us into something better, or does it turn us into something worse? And can we control it, and can we keep our faculties? And that would be building on the ideas of this movie, talking about, you know, whether or not people have a choice, and if they have free will, or if they must be guided by their natures, and if power is something that controls you and you cannot control it.
You're right. I've always been like, I have no idea what they would do, because making mutant powers is boring and going into space seems too far. Yeah.
For evolve.
Making it the mutant of mutants is great. We call it X3, Mutant of Mutants.
That sounds dumb, but this is called X2 X-Men United, so, you know. I really think we could have just stayed with the X's.
Yeah.
And just put numbers after them. You know, I like that idea because it's like, people know what X-Men is. We don't even have to put men in it. And
it's not complete without precedent. We do that with Terminator. It's T2 Judgment Day. But I don't think
we don't say T2 Terminator Judgment Day, and it is the official title.
Is the official title T2?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure. And that's what all the boxes said. It's just like ID4. It's like, that's still the official title, even though it's dumb. And I can't believe we didn't do anything with that with the sequel. But that's neither here nor there.
This isn't the only way. Get on the plane, Gene. Gene, get on the plane.
Gene, let it work. See, now that you've seen it. I think Patrick Stewart plays that part really well. But yeah, so she's out of the plane.
Now,
I think the reason I said the last time I saw this I didn't like it as well as I had before, and I mean, I'm having a better experience, but we're having a good time. Mm-hmm. I think it's just there's more conveniences and contrivances than I had picked up on before. There's more. We have to have this bit here, so we force a way for that to happen instead of properly manipulating the audience.
It's not a 4, it's a 3-5.
Well, I don't know. The ideas are still great.
No, I mean, not that it's...
It may not be.
Not that it makes it like a bad movie, but like it's less than what you thought it was.
It may be a little bit closer to a 3-5. It may be that there's just not an X-Men movie yet that is a 4. But, I mean, I did give this a 4. It's always based on the last time I saw it. So, yeah, it was the last, just in the Rewind project, yeah, but... No! You don't say that! But yeah, now, you want. I just gotta say, you want the audience to feel like you got to things that you thought needed to get in your script in a natural kind of way, and there's a lot of places where that did not happen that I did not pick up on before.
Now
it's not always organic.
One of the writers on this film, who's friends with Bryan Singer, and he's done a couple of films in his own right. He did Krampus. He wrote and directed Krampus.
Interesting.
He's one of the writers of this film. He's talked about he did a I think it was a podcast interview a year or two ago where he talked about what his plan was for the third film, and it is real different, and it's exactly how it would fit in this universe.
Oh,
he goes entirely messianic. Phoenix is a force, like she is above. She's like a god on Earth, and there are people worshiping her, and like we're getting into those ideas.
Just Apocalypse, right?
I mean.
You could have done that, but then it's hard to do Apocalypse.
Oh, I don't think they're thinking about that. I mean, it also sounded like another X-Men film without a villain, which X-Men does better than anybody else. I mean, it's always Magneto.
You said earlier we're just making a movie here. You don't have to have a costume.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what his idea for the third one sounded like too.
Yeah, that's cool. But does that mean that it's an actual guy? What is it in that?
I don't remember. Okay. It's been a while since I listened to that. I'd have to go back and re-listen to it.
Because one thing that always perplexed me about having a mutant like eons before where we are now
is why didn't evolution like evolve more?
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense at all. Like if we evolved to this point where now there's like a subgroup and the rest of us haven't caught up, why would that have happened that long ago? Mm-hmm. I mean, maybe it's supposed to be kind of a drop in the bucket for like the evolution of the world, but then why now do we have so many of them versus one time we had one and that's all we had?
Never made sense.
I never really understood Apocalypse. I always needed him to not actually be a mutant, but...
Well, and we kind of ignore him because there's him, and then Namor is technically the first mutant.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
And then in Fraction's X-Men, they go back in time to the first mutant, and they bring up Namor and Apocalypse. They're like, well, those don't count. This is the first actual mutant birth of, like, what we consider mutants.
So, is the theatricality of this necessary?
Yes.
Is it?
Yeah. You gotta get his attention immediately.
Well, that's true. But no matter what you say, this is going to feel like intimidation, and that is not Professor X's style.
It's true.
Now, I mean, as I like to talk about a lot, classic Professor X does have kind of a morally ambiguous streak, but that's not really what we're doing with this.
Right.
And see, that's who did it, and that's what you're talking about. But you actually do know a little girl who walks through walls.
Yeah, which is why it's weird that Nightcrawler laughs, because he doesn't know that.
Well, no, he laughs because that's who he used. The idea is, like, they forgot they had Kitty Pryde in this movie. Is the sense I always got?
Yeah, and the first one.
You're saying little girl who walks through walls. What you really mean is Nightcrawler, and that's why he's laughing, because that's them telling us with that shot that Nightcrawler's the one who went and got that stuff. But I'm just
Or
saying
he's met Kitty Pryde.
that you have her there.
In the
It's,
interim.
no, I'm positive I'm right about the read there. Right? Like, that's what they're telling you there. And the majority of the audience doesn't know there's actually a girl that walks through walls because they forgot about the one shot where we saw that.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. See, that's a little intimidating.
Yeah.
I really like the point you made when we talked about the last movie, that if they're going to have outfits, they should all look different.
Yeah.
And it's not like Professor X has one of those. I mean, I like that when we get a Days of Future Past.
That would be great.
That's awesome.
No,
but
that would be great in a wheelchair. If he had, he leathered up.
It's a uniform. That means that they're all supposed to look the same. We're a group. We all stand for something. Black latex scaring people. No, it's realistic because it's black.
You know, all those people that walk around in black leather. You know all those military guys running around with black leather?
Okay, not realistic. Just it's supposed to theoretically.
When the Matrix
look
came out, we
better
thought it
on
looked really
screen.
cool.
Yeah. We also thought about giving all the X-Men sunglasses, but they decided maybe that was going a little too far.
Oh, there was definitely a conversation about them all wearing sunglasses. Not with this one, but with the first one.
See, it'll be cool. The way we explain it is everybody has sunglasses, so when Cyclops uses his power, it's a surprise.
They'll never know where it's coming from.
Nobody would expect. They could all have that. None of them could have that. Why did she leave the plane? I mean, I'm glad somebody asked the question, but we never follow up on it. I don't like this. I've always said that Xavier, she made a choice, but why does she have to make that? And yes, that's what the movie's about.
Well,
but
it's possible.
I mean, if it's a sacrifice, I get that's what he's trying to say, but it doesn't have to be that.
It's possible because she flares up real big at the end, right before she dies. It's possible.
She thinks it would kill them all.
Or she can feel the Phoenix and is worried about what that means, and so she takes this opportunity to both save them and let herself die so that they don't have to worry about the Phoenix.
That's probably what it is. And that means Xavier knows more than
But that requires the third movie to pick up on that thread.
Yeah, and it doesn't. And that's why I didn't question it as much in the theater, because I expected, well, we're setting up a sequel.
Yeah, we'll explain it.
We'll explain this when she comes back.
Unfortunately, Brett Ratner showed up.
Yeah. So we could have, I don't even want to say fixed that, we could have made that a non-issue.
Yeah. It's only retrospectively that it's real bad.
Retroactively. But...
no, retrospectively, we're looking back on it.
Yeah. Oh, okay. But if this had tanked and the franchise ended, then it is still a problem.
Yeah.
You know, because
it wasn't gonna
you've seen those movies where somebody says a thing like that, and you know she made a choice. Like that's like it's funny because the same actor, Picard has this stupid line in Nemesis where why do you have to go over and fight Shinzo? Because it's something I need to do. Okay, but why? You know, and it's generic and it's supposed to be dramatic, and they're asking you to turn your brain off and not be a thinking person. And also, she's talking about evolution here, and you see the Phoenix, and it's like she's evolved into it.
Yeah, you're right.
I feel like that's inherent in this.
You're right.
That is the natural way to go. But boy, it's convenient that she turns into it right there. We don't have any sense that anything specifically is making it flare up.
I mean, it's building throughout the film.
Yeah, but
we get that stuff in her eyes and stuff.
No, I know that, but specifically what it is that's making that happen. Is it just every time she uses her powers, she gets more powerful? Is that all it is? What is the impetus of it? Because this is to our point from the beginning. We were talking about
what changed at Liberty Island.
What changed at Liberty Island? What made that different?
Yeah, I don't know.
Why is it happening now? That's just too convenient.
I missed the writer credit, so I don't know what that one guy's name is, but I thought it was interesting. Story credit is Bryan Singer, David Hayter, who wrote the first film, and then Zach Penn, who...
I know that name.
He writes Incredible Hulk, and he was originally supposed to write Avengers before Joss Whedon comes aboard.
Oh, okay. I wish I was a writer with the last name Penn. That's great.
He's written things here and there. He's a working writer. He's on things.
I feel like if your name was Newton Typewriter. Like, yeah, I'm a writer. I'm typewriting thing.
But not with a real typewriter, because that's hard. Hurts my fingers.
So Halle Berry always liked to complain that she wasn't in these enough. And,
no one's in these enough.
And because she was kind of wrong for this part, and I don't like what she does with it, I'm kind of glad she's not more in these.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Until the next movie.
I don't like. Yep.
Where she's spinning around like this.
So, are you looking forward to having to sit through that again?
No.
In talking about, like,
no,
in doing this? Like,
no,
will that
no,
be fun? Or
no,
will we try to make it as painful for the viewers?
No,
as
because
I'm kidding.
Because it's a dull bad.
We wouldn't do that for you, do you?
Like Spider-Man 3 is a fun bad. X-Men 3 is a dull bad.
Yeah.
It's just, this doesn't work. This doesn't work. This is inconsistent with the characters. There's nothing cool here.
When I watched it with Shades, that was kind of how we felt about it.
Yeah.
We'll see what we get. That's one where we should be doing something else while we're watching it, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what yet. We do chess again, but that's a little redundant.
We can upgrade the checkers. It's really more in our wheelhouse.
We could get X-Men Monopoly. I think that's a thing.
I think it is.
That might be a thing.
It might be a thing.
I've done Monopoly before on a commentary.
It'll get like, we'll get like 2 times around the board by the time the movie ends.
That's not true, because you know, I can multitask. That's a game I can play and talk about the movie.
What was I gonna say? I was gonna say something about.
We'll do something.
So what do we have in between? We have Daredevil.
We got Daredevil,
Spider-Man 2, Fantastic Four.
That's 05. Yeah, we would have to be.
Oh, interesting.
That would have to be in there before we get to X3. X-Men 3.
The Last Stand.
The Last Stand. Yeah, it should have been called The Last Straw, really. But,
I mean, it kind of was.
It kind of was. Yeah,
somehow,
exactly. It was.
Somehow.
No, Origins was The Last Straw.
10 years later, Apocalypse is just a man angry he didn't get to make the 3rd movie. Like, there is so much in Apocalypse that is him still angry about the last... We've all forgotten. We've all moved on.
Yeah, we definitely have. The only reason we're talking about it now is because we're going to have to watch the freaking thing.
Yeah, but, like...
No, you're right. You're right. And isn't that weird? He just remakes X2 in, like, the coolest way possible. I can't even complain about the ways in which it is a remake of X2. Mm-hmm. I actually credited it for some of that stuff when I did the rewind. And some of that is, I wish I'd been able to make X3 and I'm doing things better. But a lot of it is just his personal nostalgia for making X2. You can feel that all the way through that movie. And then you get to Apocalypse, and he's like, yeah, it's the 3rd one. 3!
I didn't make the 1st one, so I didn't get 3 on my own, but
I'm gonna really go to town on this X3 thing. Yeah. Third it up.
And he does the Phoenix, like, because Apocalypse is also just this movie again. But not as good.
Yeah. And it's also Days of Future Past again, but not as good.
Yeah.
I don't want to just sit here and rag on that. We'll have plenty of time to do that.
We will get to rag on it. It'll be fun.
And I mean, there's things in that I like, but it was the wrong direction.
Gene, let it go.
It immediately. No, don't say that. You can't say that. But I don't know. It immediately made me less excited for this franchise moving forward, because
it seems like they have no
Days
direction.
of Future Past, it got us to a place, and we were like ready to really burn rubber moving forward.
It's so weird. 1 movie ago, I'm excited for the direction of this franchise. 1 movie later, okay, so can we just reboot? Like it's time. It's time. Hugh Jackman will do his last Wolverine. We'll reboot. Deadpool can still be in that continuity because he can make jokes about how he's not in the new continuity.
Yeah, we can reboot around Deadpool 100,000 times. Yeah. It doesn't even matter.
He'll talk about it.
Keep making fun of it, yeah.
But yeah, no, it... And they keep starting all these projects that never get finished.
Yeah.
Like, they're worse than Warner Brothers. Like, Warner Brothers, like, laid out that entire lineup of movies, and I genuinely believe they have every intention of making all of those movies.
Yeah.
Now, whether we get them or not, we'll...
You mean like Justice League Dark and all of that?
Yeah, well, not necessarily Justice League Dark, because that was the Guillermo del Toro thing, but like The Flash, Aquaman, like when they gave us that big thing, like Marvel did.
Well, yeah, but they're still trying to make those movies.
Yeah. I mean, and I legitimately believe they're going to keep trying to make those movies. X-Force, New Mutants, like all these movies that they've announced. Have you heard anything about, like, we got concept art for X-Force. Have you heard anything about it?
No, and I mean...
New Mutants has a director and a writer.
They keep jumping back constantly with the Gambit. Like, it's happening, it's not happening, it's
mutant
happening.
powers and Phoenix effect sequences.
Or actually, I don't think they've even ever said...
So all the mutant powers, those were stunt doubles with actual mutant powers.
No, they're visual effects.
I know.
Yes, Eric. That's how they made this movie. No, but they... You had to interrupt me to say that, like...
I know, it's funny.
But they, Like, they haven't said it's not happening, but Gambit keeps getting pushed back.
Gambit got re-renewed. No, it was done. Channing Tatum left.
Oh, was it done?
And then I saw a thing the other day.
That's going back and forth, too. Like, there was a point where he left, and then he came back.
He just came back again.
He came back again.
Of
course he did.
That movie still might be happening. That was supposed to be out this year.
That was supposed to be out last year.
Yeah, I forgot we moved
And
ahead.
before I saw Apocalypse, I said, I really hope that somehow or other that movie comes out. I mean, it would suck if it was a rush job, but I hope it actually happens because
they get to do 3
They
first.
would get to have, they would be the first studio to put 3 movies out in a year, and now DC and Marvel will tie for it.
Mm-hmm.
But they were going to be the first studio to get 3 in a year, and after Days of Future Past and the success of Deadpool, I felt like they earned that.
No, they won't tie. Only Wonder Woman and Justice League next year. Or this year.
I thought they already had one more. I guess they don't.
Yeah, and remember, they moved Wonder Woman from in a couple of months to November.
Pretty far back, yeah. No, you're right. There isn't anything else this year, is there?
No.
So Marvel will be the first one, yeah. And they deserve it, too.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
But like, it's just Fox... The one thing Fox has over Marvel, regardless of all of the bizarre continuity issues and soft reboots in different kinds of ways...
At this point, I can't even begin to complain about continuity.
Is that somehow or rather they have managed to keep it financially viable, and they technically have a franchise that has never been officially rebooted, going all the way back to 2000. Mm-hmm. And they're the only studio that's managed that.
Yep, that's true.
Now Marvel will catch them.
Yeah, but
well, if they stop, they'll catch them. If they continue this insanely convoluted franchise. They just keep putting out movies in it.
At this point, it's not fun to think about like this. Like,
no, it's not.
Like when X-Men
was
Origins,
2 years ago.
When X-Men Origins Wolverine came out,
yeah,
it was like, okay, this movie, like, here are all of the reasons this movie doesn't make sense. None of them make sense. None of them connect at all.
Yeah. I mean, they do, but then there's all those things that negate that.
I mean, nothing after X3, I think. I mean, even X3 has things that are, I think,
I mean, you can't say there's nothing that connects them. There's just all these things that then disconnects them.
Yeah. No. They like real fast, like,
there's stuff in First Class
movies
that in okay ways will set up things that happen later, but that's somewhat negated by all the other stuff.
Yeah.
That I don't mean to be a total stickler about continuity, because I love that movie, and in a vacuum, and as a straight up reboot, which is not what it was, but like it would have been kind of fun, I guess. But it's that it shouldn't be that hard. You only had 5 movies at that point.
Yeah. And somehow it gets harder every time.
Yeah.
Like,
or we're trying less hard, and I feel like we were trying a little bit with Days of Future Past.
Yep. And then Apocalypse just doesn't care. It doesn't care about what happened before. It doesn't care what happens after. Timeline. It doesn't matter. We don't care. X-Men Apocalypse. X-19. We don't care.
Well, anyway, but you'll probably hear us say all that again. Yeah. Thanks a lot for watching, folks. Hope you enjoyed it, and looking forward to reading your comments. We will see you again tomorrow.
I enjoyed watching it. I think it's still one of the best superhero movies.
It is.
Period. Yeah.
Definitely.
It's got some contrivances, but
if I ever sat down and wrote about it again, if I did another rewind, it would be a different rewind.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not sure it quite deserves the 4, but I don't like myself for saying that. Like I feel weirded out.
It's so good.
I'm gonna take a shower after I say that. But anyway, well, everybody, thanks again for watching. I appreciate it. Tomorrow, what is tomorrow?
Daredevil.
Yes, I'm sorry. We already figured this out. So tomorrow we'll be watching Daredevil. I am Captain Logan.
I'm Eric.
See you, folks.
Goodbye, Internet.